team in the American League has more walk-off wins this season. Fenway, ready to explode. If the Red Sox win, they clinch a playoff spot. Tommy Kahnle out of the bullpen. And now Cedar Rafaela. 2 walk-off homers this season.
He just lives for these moments.
Rafaela, deep center field, way back there. Meadows looks up. It's off the top of the wall. Here comes Gonzalez around third. He will score. Say hello to October. Cedar walks it off.
At the Sports Hub, Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle on this lovely Saturday afternoon. We're going to start with the Red Sox. I'm in a great place because of what the Red Sox were able to accomplish last night. But first, I just want to make a comment about how disgusted I am with what I've seen unfold in the Ryder Cup. We should be ashamed of the performance we put forth. And I was worried about this because the U.S., you know what this reminded me of? And I think I tweeted this a few days ago. I'm going to look. It sort of reminded me of, did you remember anything about Super Bowl 36? When I remember watching Media Day. I was in high school before Super Bowl 36, Patriots Rams down in New Orleans.
Biggest odds.
And not just that, George. Just watching the Rams talk and listening to them talk, it was like they had it licked. It was a coronation. They were enjoying the moment. They were enjoying being there. They knew that the odds were so in their favor, and the Patriots were some upstart, rookie, second-year quarterback, whatever. And it was just like they're having a blast. And I got the same feeling when I watched the USA early this week talk about the Ryder Cup leading into we're going to talk about, it's going to be so electric. The raucous fans at Bethpage in New York and the fist pumps. I can't wait to see this guy fist pump when he's quiet. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Why don't you just shut your butt up and make a couple birdies, Colin Morikawa or Scotty Scheffler? I mean, I can't believe. I saw somebody tweet that said, they've been a part of Ryder Cups in the past. It was some anonymous, golf person. And they said that if Europe were to not win this Ryder Cup, it would be the biggest choke in Ryder Cup history. Because 8.5 to 3.5 doesn't feel insurmountable, even though now it sort of does because Europe is in control of the afternoon session. Just an absolute disgrace. What we've seen with all the hype, years and years of buildup for this Ryder Cup to take place in New York with the fans, all the rabid sports aficionados that were going to be there and everybody supporting the United States. To lay the egg that they are laying is just stunning. And obviously it's even worse because the U.S. can't win in Europe. We haven't won in Europe since 1993. And this was supposed to be America's venue, not just a venue in the United States. It's America's venue, New York City, Bethpage, the passionate fans, and you don't even come close. You've been getting your tails whipped since this thing started. Just a disgrace. And I mean, we'll see what happens the rest of the afternoon and into tomorrow. But I mean, what an embarrassment in New York, crazy. Crazy to see it unfold the way it's unfolding. To Scotty Scheffler, I know it's just he's had so much success, but to be 0-for in the Ryder Cup right now, I think he's 0-3. Number one player in the world. Man. Finally, they got a little desperate and they put Scheffler and DeChambeau together just to get a point. But just a disgrace. At least we can't say that about the Boston Red Sox because I give them so much credit. Is Cerrone here? Cerrone will be joining us.
Still waiting, yes.
I give them so much credit for the season they've had. 617-779-0985. I give them so much credit. It's a great day to be a Red Sox fan. I can't wait for the postseason. And yes, I think this season has been a success. Regardless of what happens in October, I think this season has been a success. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to criticize them at all going forward. There are still things that disappoint me about this season. There are things that I wish they had done that would have had them operating a little bit closer to what we've seen in the past, that would have put them in a better position to contend for a World Series. And unfortunately, the thing I think that's going to ultimately hold them back, because they're there with anybody. They could win the American League. I think the thing that will ultimately hold them back, though, and the X factor that will be this season, is going to come to fruition in the form of getting nothing for Rafael Devers. I think that is ultimately where they're going to be, where they're going to come up short.
And I'm a fan like you. I'm a little salty on the Red Sox, considering that you trade away your best player in the middle of the year. It was in a stretch where, correct me if I'm wrong, they won like 8 out of 10. It was like 6 straight. They had just come off the sweep of the Yankees, so we didn't have like those 90 minutes to feel good, kind of like the last week of last season with we couldn't get to Black Monday. Gerard Mayo was gone, and then his press pass was revoked, within 90 minutes. So it's just like within that sweep, getting excited, and moment to moment, because big picture, is in regular season sweep of the Yankees, and we've been owning the regular season matchup, which is inconsequential if we go to face them in the playoffs, I believe. But it's hard for me to hop on board for the Red Sox and celebrate them when they literally salary dumped Devers for nothing.
But you know what, though? They earned it. They earned it. The players earned it the way they've played. It's not their fault that they did that. Right. It's not the players' fault.
And way to stick with it. Credit to Cora.
Yes, Alex Cora, and we're going to go through a list right now of the biggest reasons the Red Sox are where they are. And I'm going to just tell you there's 5. And when Cerrone joins us, he can chime in on this as well. There are 5 reasons the Red Sox are where they are, and I'm ranking them. And I'm going to go from 1 to 5. And the top reason the Red Sox are where they are, and I have to say what I have to say, and I have to do this. I have to give credit to Craig Breslow. Got to do it. I don't like listening to him talk. Don't like I don't want to hear his press conferences necessarily, but I've got to give credit because the biggest reason the Red Sox are where they are, Garrett Crochet, Alex Bregman. Those 2 acquisitions changed the franchise. It got the Red Sox back at least into the ballpark of where they used to be. Are they what they used to be? No, they are not. They were not active enough at the trade deadline. Like I just said, getting rid of Rafael Devers for nothing. They're still not aggressive enough going after some of the stars, but these moves were aggressive, and they were stars. So I give credit to Craig Breslow. I give credit to John Henry, and I put this as the number 1 reason they are where they are. That's a great job. You got an ace pitcher, an ace. It changed the franchise. It changed the dynamic of this team, and then you get Alex Bregman. And why is that important? Well, he's wildly productive. But it's also important because I think the biggest reason, now this is just my opinion, the biggest reason the Red Sox turned it around after the Devers trade is because of Alex Bregman. And it's not even really as much to do with his production on the field, between the lines. It's more about what he represents. If you haven't noticed, and I'm sure you have, teams take on the personality of their best player. Why are the Patriots making a million mistakes right now? In part, it's because Drake May still makes a lot of mistakes. If Drake May is able to clean it up, the rest of the team will clean it up because he'll demand that type of excellence. That's what Tom Brady did for 20 years. It wasn't Bill Belichick, it was Tom Brady demanding that the team play to his level. Brady didn't make many mistakes, so the team tried to rise their level of play to Brady's level. Didn't make as many mistakes. Look at the Boston Celtics. Are they not Jason Tatum, the embodiment of Jason Tatum? That's exactly what they are. Whatever Jason Tatum is, that's what the Celtics are. Tatum is tough, the Celtics are tough. Tatum is a great offensive player, the Celtics are a great offensive team. Tatum has trouble closing out games, the Celtics have trouble closing out games. Jason Tatum is the Celtics. They're his personality. Tough, mentally tough, which is what the Celtics are. Great offensively, which is what he is. Trouble closing out games sometimes, which the Celtics have. The Bruins last year. Brad Marchand is your captain. How'd that go? That is not the personality. Now, he's a great player for what he does, the niche that he's in, the agitator, the rascal, whatever you want to call him. And he does score goals and does all those things great on the shorthanded attack. But as a captain, it didn't work because that's not overall the personality you want your team to have, Brad Marchand. Doesn't mean he's not a great player. Doesn't mean he's not a great fit somewhere. But as a leader, as the captain, it didn't work. I think Alex Bregman took over for this Red Sox, and they sort of adopted his personality when Devers left. Devers did not have a personality that spelled championship. He was fine in 2018. Why? Because you had other personalities here. You had other leaders here. Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, Chris Sale. As much as Chris Sale disappointed on the field, I had no problem with his personality, his leadership, those types of things. So I just feel like that is the biggest reason why the Devers trade worked because of Alex Bregman's presence. That's the biggest reason. Now there are and the other second reason is trading Rafael Devers. So give it, Craig Breslow credit there. Not for not getting anyone in return, because I do think that's going to be the difference this year in terms of winning a championship. I think had you got anybody in return worth a damn that could be on the playoff roster and legitimately contribute and be a factor, you'd be right there to win the World Series with any team. Even some of the National League teams. You'd be right there. If they had gotten a bona fide contributor in that trade, they would be right there. Even with their lackluster trade deadline, they'd be right there. But the fact that they, at the trade deadline, did nothing for the most part, and then at the Devers trade did nothing, I guess if you want to consider Nathaniel Lowe a trade deadline acquisition, fine. But between Devers and the acquisition of Crochet and Bregman, those are the biggest reasons this team is where they are. There are three others that we'll get to. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get to the other reasons the Red Sox are where they are. Give this team a ton of credit. Mentally tough. They grinded. They had ups and downs, but they persevered. I give a lot of credit to the guys in that clubhouse, and we're going to spread some of that love further when we get back. Cerrone Battle will join us, 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero and Cerrone on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub. game. It all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
In spring training, we talk about hitting standards every single day, right? And we knew it wasn't going to be perfect, right? But we were going to grow as a family. We were going to learn how to win games. And little by little, we were going to be better and better and better. I think we talked right before the All-Star break that was going to happen, and that's what really happened. I'm very proud of all you guys. I mean, through the years, we went through a lot, right? Injuries and other stuff, you know, and we struggled, and we got up. And we kept going and going and going. Today was a perfect example of a team win. I mean, everybody contributed. From the guys playing, to the guys in the dugout, to the clubbies, to everybody. Everybody contributed. You could feel the energy in that game. So I want to thank you for the effort. I want to thank you for everything you guys have done. But, you guys know, we didn't come here to play only 162. We came here to win the World Series. Let's go.
Fenway Park. People at Fenway Park saw. Listen, I'm not here to have a long conversation about Apple TV. We all know the thing sucks. The premise sucks. I didn't watch the game live because I don't have it. I wasn't going to deal with all that. I watched it on Twitter. I watched it on YouTube after. But I enjoyed every second that I saw. I enjoyed the clips. I enjoyed Tyler's tweets. All of the above. I am now joined by Cerrone Battle. What's up, Cerrone?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. So I started off. I gave the top, what I think are the top two reasons why the Red Sox are what they are, and what I said was Garrett Crochet, Alex Bregman coming in, and really the dismissal of Rafael Devers and the combination of bringing in Bregman, his production on the field, and the leadership that he offers on top of what Crochet offers as an ace. Do you agree with that? And that they're two of the biggest reasons why the Red Sox turned it around and made it back to the postseason this year? Yeah,
obviously. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. And I think the Devers you mentioned a few minutes ago, if they would have got something in return for Devers, another, not a star player, but a really productive player in return, that they would be competing for a World Series. And I would say to this that, Devers was traded, was it the 15th of June or whatever it was?
Sounds
Roman Anthony
right,
was
yeah.
called up on the 9th.
Okay.
I think Anthony, with Devers being gone, Anthony slowly started becoming that star player or that player in return, that addition by subtraction. He wasn't it early, but as time went on, he was looking like the best player they had out there on the field. And if he was 100% healthy right now, I think the outlook of his team looking forward would be totally different. I don't think it would have came down to what we had last night. They might have locked this up a little earlier. But I think Roman Anthony's rise kind of, I think it kind of helped us get past that, the last few years, nothing during the trade deadline, team falls apart. I think this kid's rise to becoming a star helped them get through that and gave them, okay, we got something here. We believe in something. And he's not just, he's a symbol of future success. He was being very productive and very clutch for this team. And like a huge turning point for me was that home run he hit in New York. And it was like, okay, there's something there. There's something special there. Big time play, big time moment against a big time team. And I think the team started believing. So I would say the addition they had from Devers being gone was the rise of Roman Anthony. I think that was a huge thing for this team. And if he was there right now, we wouldn't just be happy that they're making the playoffs. I think we'd be looking at this team as a serious contender to win it.
Sure. And that's a good point. The only thing I would say about that, and the reason I wouldn't just lean on that, and I wouldn't let them off the hook because of Roman Anthony's emergence and subsequent ascent, is because what you've essentially done, and again, you work with what you have, but you'd be putting in a position, you'd be putting a 22-year-old or whatever he is in a position to be the guy that you need to have a big performance from in the playoffs, the number one bat in your lineup going into the postseason on a rookie, essentially. And I feel like that's just asking a lot. Now, they weren't going to get necessarily, a marquee name for Devers, a big bat. So they might have been out of luck there, and maybe the rest of the team could have picked him up like they did. But I just feel like not getting anybody if they do come up short, we're going to look back, or I'm going to look back, I'll speak for myself, and I'm going to just say, damn it, if they had just, if this guy didn't come through, or if there was somebody in the bullpen that dropped off, or one of the starters doesn't come through for you in the playoffs, I'll look back and say, well, if they just filled another hole, if they just gotten one more piece for Rafael Devers, one of the best hitters in the league, that might have been the piece they could have filled. They could have plugged that hole, and maybe that's what could have got them over the top, over the hump. But again, I'm not here to be overly critical today because I think, Cerrone, this team showed a lot of heart, mental toughness, clutch, all the things that you want a playoff team to exhibit. Has it been perfect? No. Errors, base running, gaps, but overall, this team has persevered, and it's hard not to like where they're sitting based on what we see in the American League.
Yeah, I mean, and I think credit to them. Remember, early on, the whole conversation was, man, how many one-run games are they going to lose? When are they going to find a way to be clutch? When are they going to close out some of these games? How are they going to hold these leads? That was a major issue for this team for most of the first half of the season. And all of a sudden, second half, they became a team that just wouldn't die. You know, they were like the Terminator out there. You had to really blow them out in order to beat them. And they became a very clutch team to the point that, like last night, you're sitting there, they made it 3-3, and you're thinking, they're going to win this game. They're going to find a way to win it. Not saying they always do, but recently, this has been the case with this team. They went from being a team that could not win close games to a team you expect to win close games. And it wasn't just one thing. It's clutch pitching in key situations with Chapman, closing out games, timely hitting. I mean, I don't know how many walk-ups they done had this season, but they've had their fair share, and they've become a pretty clutch team, and you got to give credit to them. You got to give credit to Cora for some of the moves he's made. But I think the likable thing about this team is it's not just one thing. They're finding ways to win these games, and the credit is getting spread around, even all the way up to the front office with the moves they made, which you've mentioned so far. So you got to give them all credit, and they've become a likable team, something we haven't said about this Red Sox franchise in a while.
Let's talk to Colin and Brockton on the Red Sox. Hey, Colin.
Hey, what's up, guys? So what I wanted to say was this whole season I've fallen into the classic Red Sox fan pessimism. I didn't believe in this team at all. Every time they went up and I'd get a little confidence, they'd find a reason. Roman Anthony getting hurt should not have put them in the slide that it put them in, but I'll give them credit for coming back. I want to say last night's game was a perfect emphasis of the season as a whole. When they went down 3-0, I was like, they're going to get swept, and the Astros are going to sweep their series, and they're going to miss the playoffs. I was so pessimistic. When they finally came back, the first time ever, in a very long time, when Rafael came up to bat, I felt the confidence that they were going to win, and I thought that was awesome. It was the first time since maybe Yui Hara would come out to pitch, and you just knew they were going to win. I thought that was an awesome moment. Just for the first time ever, someone came up to bat, and I was like, they're going to win.
And it's a great feeling to have, and you're not wrong for not believing in them. I didn't believe all season. I thought they'd find a way to drop off. I mean, based on what they had been, yeah, you have to prove it to me. And I'm giving them credit now because they proved it to me. And I think this season's been a success. Let me just throw the last few reasons at you, Cerrone, why I think they are where they are. Alex Cora is obviously one of them. I think he's been really good this year because Cora kept his train during the trade deadline when they didn't do enough. I think some years in the last few years he's gotten a little mopey because the roster didn't evolve the way he wanted to, whether they didn't get somebody or whatever. I don't think that happened this year. I think his head was on right, and I give Cora a lot of credit, even though I thought he should have been fired earlier in the season. It was the right move to keep him because he did his thing. I thought Ceddanne Rafaela's July was a big part of this team's turnaround or success or whatever. It made us feel like there was something magical to what was going on. Or maybe it was after Devers, we were all kind of in a bad mood after Devers got dealt. But Rafaela was a big reason why the team, people started to forget about the Devers thing and were kind of buying in on the Red Sox because of what he was doing. And obviously that electric around the 4th, I forget the date, when he had that walk-off, one of the best nights at Fenway Park in the regular season in years. So I thought his play in the middle of the season there and what he did gave you the feeling, and to those players too, that there was something special going on. And the last reason, I think, like you said, Roman Anthony. Him coming up, the production, more so the production. I don't think it was, wow, Roman's here. We've got our savior. I don't think it was something like that necessarily. Yeah. I just think he's nasty. And he produced. And he was really good for them and came up with some big hits, helped the lineup, and he did things that helped them win games. So I think those are the big reasons that they're where they are right now.
I got one that you guys both didn't mention.
Yeah.
All right, so I've been wanting to chime in on this, and this is going to be a big reason that they do advance, if they are going to advance, in my opinion. But I would say the emergence of Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito. pitchers that I didn't envision being top of the rotations. Now, Bayo kind of projects that way, but definitely not Giolito.
No.
And I expected them to fall and have this kind of drop off on the back end of the year. We kind of see it in September, but there's glimpses of them. If the Red Sox are going to advance, it's going to be because Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito are pitching up to par or what they've performed as number 2s and 3s for this season, I would think.
And that's a great ad, George, especially Bayo. Giolito has been, but we've seen Giolitos. We've seen Giolitos before. We've seen Tanner Houck. I mean, remember the beginning of whatever it was, 2024? I've talked about this on the air a million times. The year in I think it was 24. Collectively, the starting rotation in April of 2024 had better numbers than Pedro Martinez in 1999. They were better than, they were so ridiculous. We've seen it with Houck, and who made the All-Star team a few years ago? Was it Houck or? They're all the same to me. Give me another name. What's another name I'm forgetting? They've been injured.
There's been glimpses with Bayo. We've been kind of waiting for this. So I think he's always had it in him. The fact that he's turned it around along with Giolito, it does give me hope because I've been waiting for them to kind of both fall off collectively. They haven't. It gives me room for optimism. I do want to give Breslow his kudos, but I don't want to go all the way, push the chips to the table because I'm still salty with the Devers trade.
But especially Bayo finally kind of living up to the hype, if you will. That's been huge.
And one I'd like to add real quick. I think that kind of saved this season. I don't know if they just, they had 3 games left, whatever, making it with 2 games, whatever. Does this team make the playoffs if they don't sign Lowe in August?
It's a good question. I mean, he's had some big plays for them.
Like, was he worthy of the 2 or 3 games they needed to make the playoffs? Does this team get to where they are now if they don't make that sneaky move in late August to pick up Lowe?
And maybe not, and maybe that's going to be enough to kind of give Craig Breslow the pass that he needs for what he didn't do with the Devers trade and at the trade deadline. That's another good point. I mean, things have just worked out. They've worked out for Breslow. They've worked out for this team, and that's fine. They've done enough between the moves in the offseason to bring in those key guys, to the things that Alex Cora has done this year, to the resilience of the players, and to the ability to produce and win some of those close games and have these walk-off wins. I mean, it feels like every time they're in the green jerseys, they walk off. So it should be fun. We'll talk about the playoffs. We'll talk about what's next. And we got a lot of Patriots to get to. I want to talk about that with Cerrone as well. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle here, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports, 98. in sports? Yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Roman, I know you want nothing more than to be able to have participated in this moment, but they're not here without what you did when you were not on the IL. What does this mean to you? And obviously, hopefully, being able to get back further into the postseason.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, first of all, I want to thank God letting me be in this position with this team, with this group of guys, the city. I'm so blessed. I've had such an amazing time here so far, and this group is just unbelievable to come to the yard with every day. And for me, it was an unfortunate injury, but I'm doing everything I can to get back out there and hopefully play as soon as I can. But right now, my job is to be the best cheerleader I can possibly be, and just come here every day and support these guys. And I'm so happy for every single person in this org. We earned it. We grinded every day. I haven't been here all year, but in my time here, it's been unbelievable.
All right, back here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle, 617-779-0985. The Red Sox have sort of pieced it together this year. Ups, downs, all of the above. Bad trades, okay trades, the emergence of a young superstar. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the Yankees in the I'm hoping for the Yankees in the playoffs. I understand that might not be the most advantageous matchup. I'm hoping. I don't care. I want to see the Yankees. Yeah. And by the way, they played well. Not just they played well against
dominated.
the Yankees. Thank you, sir. They've dominated the Yankees. It's okay to want the Yankees.
You guys, let it go. Let it go.
Are you in favor of a certain matchup over another, Cerrone?
Yankees. It's got to be Yankees. For one, I think it's a matchup for them. I think they'd be confident against the Yankees, and I think the Yankees are looking at all the teams saying this is the team we don't want to play because they know they've had success against them. It's got to be the Yankees for that reason, and I think Major League Baseball would love for it to be the Yankees. It would be great for the league to kind of steal that time from all the other sports, NBA starting up, NFL, college football, whatever. Yankees, Red Sox to open up the playoffs would be the series that the league would desperately need and want right now.
Do you find this season to be a success regardless of what happens in this series in the playoffs?
Ooh, you know what? If you'd asked me that last week, I would have said yes. But I think now, and again, opponent, if they get the Yankees and they go out there and they lose to them, in a quick series, I'd be hurt. I'd be upset. I'd want more. But I think if they're playing one of the more dominant teams or whatever, you'd be like, yeah, man, I think we could have got a little more, but I'm happy that they're taking the right steps. But if I see the Yankees in front of them, I'm like, man, they can win that series. And now maybe I'm getting greedy and maybe I want a little more. But I think fans and players and the organization should be feeling pretty greedy right now. Okay, we shouldn't be happy to be here. We're the Red Sox. Our goal is to win. And I think that goal should be to beat the Yankees. And I'd be upset if they went out there and got smoked by the Yankees in the first round series.
They've come too far. They've overcome too many things this year. And they're playing too well. And they have a little bit, I'm not going to call them magical. I don't know if it's that, I'm going to get that intense about it. But they do have a little something, a little juice flowing. It feels like there's something brewing there in terms of, like I said, I don't think there's some team of destiny or something like that. But it feels like they've generated enough momentum where, like you said, especially if you're going against a team that you've had success against this year in a big way, you should be able to win that series. And even if you don't, that doesn't necessarily mean the season's not a success, but it could still be wildly disappointing. And I want to see them go up against the Yankees just for the theatricals part of it. I want to see that series. But I also think that would be a good opportunity to kind of revive some of the things that have been missing over the last few years. Go in there, make a statement, win in New York, because all the games are going to be there. We don't know if they're going to play the Yankees, but if it is, they're going on the road. And that would really announce your presence back into the postseason and kind of get you back to closer to what you were. Because the American League is down, and they have every opportunity to do what they want to do, at least in terms of getting to the World Series, and we'll see. As you know, Cerrone, baseball is a funny game, okay?
Yeah.
You never know who's going to get hot, who's going to get cold, how it's going to kind of unfold once you get into the tournament. That's why they should always be buyers. I mean, you just never know. Look at the Mariners. The Mariners, wildly aggressive at the trade deadline, it pays off. They win the division. The Guardians sent one of their best pitchers to Toronto, and they went on a tear at the end of the year, and they're going to end up most likely in the playoffs and doing all the. So you don't know. Baseball's a funny game, and they're as capable as anyone in the American League. The Red Sox are.
And I would add in too pressure. Imagine the pressure of Aaron Judge if he wins the MVP, and you got to play the Red Sox in the first round at home, and those fans are looking at every pitch. What kind of player is he going to be when the lights get really bright? Is he going to be able to come through for them? You've been better than the Yankees literally up until like last week. You've been the better team. You've been better than them head to head. The pressure now would be on them, especially guys like Judge. If he goes out there and wins the MVP, he might not get it or whatever. But the pressure will be on the Yankees to win at home. And you'd be playing with house money, I think, in that situation. And I think you would have the advantage over the Yankees in the first round series.
I mean, they just take 3 of 4 New York last month or whatever. I mean,
something like that. Yeah,
they've had the success against the Yankees. That's not the question. I don't know what Vegas would have to say about the odds and all those things, but this is a situation where they have overcome everything. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Sort of like they've overcome it all. The Devers trade, I feel like even the lack of, if there was any animosity over their inactivity at the trade deadline from an internal perspective, they've overcome it. I mean, Nathaniel Lowe has helped them overcome it. There are reasons to believe in this team, and one of those reasons is the bullpen. And let's talk to Howard and Randolph. Hey, Howard.
Hey, Mark. How you doing, Cerrone?
What's going on?
2 points. On your acquisitions, you failed to mention Aroldis Chapman.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is, I don't blame Breslow for Devers not getting a better return, because didn't the owner of the Giants call Henry complaining that Breslow was asking too much? And Henry obviously just wanted to dump the salary, so that's why the trade went through. I don't know about the trade deadline, if that was Breslow not knowing what he was doing, or the fact that Henry didn't want to spend extra money.
Okay, well, 2 things. Number one, the reason I didn't bring up Chapman is because we've kind of seen the Red Sox do things like this in the past. The veteran, Kenley Jansen. We've seen that. They've done. Now, Chapman's been great, and I'll give them more credit for not trading Chapman at the deadline. I think that was sort of a discussion a few months ago or back at the end of July or whatever, and they didn't, and they kept them, and it's worked out. But they've made moves like that. The moves they haven't made, Crochet, like really going out and getting that ace, and then Bregman, a star player that's
stars.
Stars.
Yep, they haven't gone and got the stars. There's things they've been complaining about here for years, and they went out and got 2 guys who are stars, who are great players now, not washed-up players. They got 2 great players, and you see the results, or you see the return.
And the only other thing I wanted to mention in terms of that phone call, the Devers thing frustrated me because not even not getting the guy or return that I wanted when they dealt him. But then at the trade deadline on July 31st, I was on the call with Breslow and the media, him talking about, well, you need 2 to tango, and you need, they didn't want the guys we offered. Well, you had a guy that people would have wanted. So if you were that desperate, which he was, he was trying to play it off, at least play it off, like they were really interested in adding and getting some quality people at the trade deadline to bolster the roster. If you were really interested in doing that, you had Devers. So you should have been doing that with Devers as the carry. You should have traded Devers. So that's what frustrated me. He was wringing the hands over, we couldn't get another team to agree to take our guys. When you had the guy they would have wanted, and you got nothing for him when you did deal him. So that's why Devers, I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve any criticism for that crap, because he does. It's just they had opportunities, didn't take advantage, but they've overcome them, and now here we are.
Yeah, do you think this is a question for you guys, how do you feel Devers' attitude in the locker room, how strong do you think it really was, seeing how the team kind of went on that crazy win streak the minute you got rid of him, and how things almost changed overnight? Do you think his attitude or whatever it may be really affected the locker room in that way?
617-779-0985. It is. I'll admit, Cerrone, I'm surprised how much it turned around with the loss. Because it's not, usually you don't see that in baseball. Usually it's more about the talent and the bat and doing all those things. Football, maybe, you get rid of that guy that's really a malcontent And things can change, especially if you're a championship type of team. You don't see it as much in baseball. You need the talent, but it really happened like that for the Red Sox. It was a better place after Devers left.
I'm not over it.
Okay.
I'm not over it, and I would say that trading away talents like Manny Ramirez, to go back to like maybe 2009, trading him for Jason Bay and getting him into the 3-team deal, whatever they did to poach him from Pittsburgh, that didn't make you better.
But no, it didn't make you better,
No,
George. It didn't.
And they didn't win in 2009 either.
But that's exactly. That's exactly what I was waiting for. Like, I would have loved Jason Bay. Or, some equivalent to Jason Bay. If they got Jason Bay for Rafael Devers.
And Kyle Harrison.
That's
it's
what
disgusting.
I think.
Puke in the mouth.
That's what's going to be the difference, I think. But I'm not here to be negative about that now.
Right.
But I think that's going to be the difference.
Right.
Had they gotten Jason Bay,
right,
or the pitching version of Jason Bay, whoever that is right now, that would have maybe been enough. Based on how they played and Roman Anthony coming up and all these things. That might have been enough, but they didn't.
We used to have nerds that knew what they were doing in Theo Epstein,
Instead,
upon a time.
Kyle Harrison pitched last night. Now, they got the win.
He pitched all right,
yeah, fine. But if you got a guy like Jason Bay, that would have been a difference or different, but they didn't. So 617-779-0985. We're going to start to transition to a little football. A lot to talk about with the Patriots and what's coming up here against the Panthers this weekend, and what's a huge game for this organization. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. Chi-Town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Check that. Let's get back to Cerrone, who I wanted to ask, can the Red Sox win the World Series, Cerrone?
Ooh.
I mean, is it
to go along with everything else that's going right with this team, I think they'd have a chance at winning it. But I think with him being out, if he can find us, if they can get farther along in this playoff run to where he can come back, they'd have a chance. But I think this is where the Devers situation, like you and George were just talking about, I think this is where the Devers situation comes back to bite him. You're gonna need that type of bat in your lineup to make a big play, to get that timely hit that puts you over, that steals a victory for you. And I just think they're 1 or 2 bats too short to do it.
And for whatever reason, all along, I've kind of been assuming that he would be back. Maybe it was more hoping that he would be back, at least for a portion. And it's really frustrating that that's not going to, if that is the case, he's not coming back. That would be really frustrating because I want to see this team at full strength.
Yeah.
I feel like they've earned that, the way they've played and the things they've overcome this year, to not see them at full strength. Do I think they could win the World Series? I don't. And mainly because of what I said. I don't think you can lean on a 22-year-old to be your best hitter on the way to a World Series title. I just don't think that's realistic. But I still would love to see them at full strength with a kid that is obviously a stud, and just see how far they could go and how far they could take it, because that is something that, like I said, I think they've earned based on their play. And I don't know, those injuries for a big lefty like that, we've seen it with Tristan Casas, those are tough to overcome. I don't know how healthy he'd be if he is able to make it back. And obviously Marcelo Meyer not being here too, very frustrating. 2 pieces you would have loved to have seen in that situation. But I feel like it's going to be, interesting at the least, which I guess I'll take.
Yeah, I think you would, because I think what they have done, they've made it easier for this Red Sox front office going in the offseason to acquire talent. I think now you're attractive. Now you're, okay, I can help. There's somebody out there right now on some team at the bottom who's like, I would love to be a part of that. I can be on the team to be a part of the pieces that puts them over. I think it makes them more attractive going into the offseason. Now, is that what fans want to hear? Probably not. But I think you look at them, they look now like an attractive situation. I think you look at the younger piece and say, hey, I can be a part of that. Now they have to capitalize. They have to seal the deal on these free agents and make the right moves. But I think you're an attractive team now. And, going forward. But I think one thing, too, missing from making a World Series run, experience. How many guys on this team have a lot of playoff experience? How many of these guys have had deep playoff runs that know how to get it done and know how to play in tough situations?
I mean, none on the Red Sox other than maybe you want to say Garrett Whitlock. Obviously, Alex Bregman is wildly seasoned, so that'll help. He's been there. But most of them don't have much experience, correct?
And I think that plays a huge role in winning. Early on, they get the Yankees. You're in Yankee Stadium in October. Every pitch is just pressure. How are they going to handle that, seeing that not a lot of them have been through it, had to deal with it? Or do they feel like they're battle-tested enough to where they've played enough close games and big-time moments this season to where it won't affect them? So that's why I wouldn't say this team is a World Series contender, because I think somebody who's kind of been there or had a little more experience is going to edge them out and end up winning this thing.
617-779-0985. Max is in the truck. Hey, Max.
Hey, what's up, guys? So I think this Red Sox team is so much fun to watch. And I think they can go on a series playoff run and win the World Series. Nobody in the AL East scares me. Nobody in the NL scares me. I like the Red Sox chances this year. What do you guys think?
So I think, listen, what will it take? Again, I don't like the makeup of the lineup enough. It doesn't, based on my, experience, if you want to call it that, watching a lot of teams win the World Series. I don't think they have enough offensively. Now, let's see who gets hot. Let's see how things unfold. But if you're talking about what needs to happen, something that absolutely is non-negotiable, I feel like it's got to be Crochet and or Bayo. I mean, that number 2, we'll call him Bayo. They'd have to be out of their minds. I mean, lockdown, lights out.
Yeah.
if you want a chance at doing something at that level, winning the championship.
Yeah, because they have to make up for their lack of – we're probably going to have a lack of offense. So you got to get guys out there that's going to keep the score low enough to have a chance. 2, 3-1 run games, and that's it. You got to kind of – you're not going to go out there and get a 10-9 game or nothing like that. You're going to find yourself in a situation to where it's 2-1. It's in the 8th inning. You got a chance to win it. That's where I think this team can have a chance to move on in the playoffs. But you can't find yourselves in shootouts, or you're not going to beat anybody. And I think this getting out of the AL, it's all about the opponent. Yeah. It's the stars could align and they could get an easy path. We've seen it happen before. Yep. Like you said, baseball is a funny sport. We've seen it happen. So if they get the right path and get to, let's say, just get to the World Series, well, then by the time you get to that point, they're playing with house money and everybody's loose. But I think if the stars align in the AL, you could find yourself in a run, but you can't afford another injury or another setback this team has done early.
So there are 3 things they're going to need to do. They're going to need to do what I just said. Their starting pitching, their ace has to be their ace. The guy below him has to be special. So you need 2 pitchers who are special. That has to happen. You also need some offensive player to go nuts. Like what we saw from Cedar Rafaela in July. You need somebody to be that in October. Whether that's Jarren Duran, whether that's, I don't know, go pick your guy. But you need somebody out of their mind hot offensively. And then the third thing, you cannot have any lapses or falling back into the bad habits, Cerrone, of errors, base running, miscue. All that stuff has to be clean, or you're not going to win the championship because they're not good enough to overcome really bad base running or brutal errors or stuff like that. So if you tell me those 3 things are going to be above board, they're right there with anybody. If they get the pitching and somebody emerges and gets a little hot, you cut down on mistake, you're right there with anybody, especially in the American League. But those things need to happen. 617-779-0985. We're going to get a headlines. We'll be back. More of your calls. We're going to get to the Patriots. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
From the Tell Your Type Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, as you know by now, the Red Sox have clinched their first postseason berth since 2021 after their 4-3 win over the Tigers at Fenway Park on Friday night. Cedar Rafaela with the walk-off hit for Boston. Their first playoff action will be on Tuesday against either the Blue Jays, the Yankees, or the Guardians. A lot of TBD there, but we'll let you know as things continue to unfold. But Red Sox back in the playoffs. They'll be on the road for a best-of-3 series. The Patriots will host the Carolina Panthers at Gillette Stadium on Sunday, 1 p.m. Christian Gonzalez is officially listed as questionable, but is expected to play. Meanwhile, Chuba Hubbard is on the questionable. He's listed as questionable for the Panthers. And you'll listen to that game tomorrow, obviously, on 98.5, the Sports Hub, with Bob and Zoe. United States still in a deep hole at the Ryder Cup. Europe currently up 8.5 to 3.5, and in the afternoon matches that are currently going on, 2 of the 4 matches are currently on the European side. So there's a lot of blue on the board. The other 2 are all square. So the United States really has a lot of work to do if they're going to try to make some historic comeback at the Ryder Cup down at Bethpage Black. The Bruins in preseason action again tonight, 5 o'clock against the Flyers. Ryan Johnson, Bob Beers on the call right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And then after that, the Revolution will be in action against the Atlanta Football Club. Also right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99. Head to the Nines for game day this Sunday. Tackle 6-packs of bone and buffalo wings for just $5.99 and full-size apps for just $6.99. You gotta love the Nines. I'm Mark Dondero for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports. Hub. Next update, an hour.
That's the Pasternak, and he scores! What a blast by Pasternak!
The Bruins play here. When it comes to Boston sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Diggs and Booney, single pass to Stevenson, hands on knees. He takes the handoff, runs through a big hole right side, and then he lost the ball. A fumble that Squirms out to near midfield, scooped up by the Steelers. Running it back to the near side. Darius Slay will be tackled by Garrett Bradbury at the 46-yard line of Pittsburgh. Drake Mays under center. Hollins to the right. Two receivers. Dix in the slot. Booty to the outside. Handoff Stevenson. Tripped up behind the line, but he surges forward to the dive. Ramondre Stevenson is down with the ball loose, and it's a touchback. It is a fumble. The second lost fumble today by the Patriots.
Pittsburgh.
And Ramondre Stevenson, and the second turnover for the Patriots.
It's out.
Or inside.
He just fumbled
in this case. Ramondre Stevenson fumbled. Handoff to Gibson on the counter. Up and the ball came loose. Another fumble. And the Steelers hop on it. Antonio Gibson on a jump cut to the right. Lost possession. The Steelers have it. The recovery by Jabril Peppers.
Steelers are badass,
turnover
man.
today by the Patriots.
This team is badass. They punch the ball out. They strip you. They take it from you. They hit you with the helmet on it. That's Peppers putting the helmet right on the rock. I missed that guy.
Now 1st and 10 with May dropping back to pass. Pumps right, looks back left.
Get out
he slides to the pocket. He's in trouble. May's got to lose the ball. May's going to lose it. And the ball is recovered by the Steelers. Another turnover, 5th of the day at the 38-yard line of Pittsburgh, and T.J. Watt has it.
That is 100%
and I was going to say he's got to get rid of it, and he did. Unfortunately, not with an incomplete pass, but it's a fumble.
All right, so a big game, a lot to get to here in terms of the Patriots, but I'm going to start with this, Cerrone. Tell me right now, where are you on Drake May based on what you see in the first 3 games and his progression here?
I think he's been good. I think he's been pretty good. I mean, he's top 5, top 10 in every statistical category in the league right now. So I think compared to his peers, he's been pretty good. And compared to what he's been dealing with, these receivers, they got, correct me if I'm wrong, have you seen any play with any of these guys running free? Even if it's 3 yards in front of May across the middle of the field. I haven't seen a single one of these guys running free. And if it wasn't for Hunter Henry, I don't know how they'd be moving the ball through the air. The passing attack has not been there. The protection, I think, is holding up in the passing game. You haven't heard much from the rookies. They're doing their thing. But I think overall, May's been pretty good. But I think these receivers can be a lot better in some of these moments in these games.
I mean, have I seen guys running free? I mean, maybe not running free, but they've been open. Guys have been open, and he's missed them occasionally. Look, I feel you mentioned the statistical categories where he's doing well. The stats are there. I feel like he's on his way at this point to being, Andy Dalton or guys like that. Guys that are good, but they're not necessarily franchise change. Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins. A quarterback in the NFL, an bona fide NFL quarterback. He can put stats on the board. He can score some points. But if you're asking me to sit here and say this kid is just a winner, a born winner, and he's taken this team to another level, I can't go there yet. I haven't seen anything that makes me think he impacts winning to the level that I want him to impact winning. Not yet. Because as I've said, we haven't talked about this, Cerrone, and I understand he's in his second year, but even those guys in their second year, the best of the best, those guys still had winning records. Josh Allen, before he really took that jump, that leap, before they got Stephon Diggs and Brian Daboll took over and all that, the Bills were still 10-6 with Allen in his second year. I mean, he wasn't MVP, Josh Allen, but it was still a winning record. Go look at all the top quarterbacks. Go figure out what the top 5 to 7 quarterbacks are in the league. They all had winning records in their second full season as a starter, in their second year. So that really means something to me. And the fact that I haven't seen him impact winning to the level that yes, he can play quarterback. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to be in the league a long time. But I'm not, if you're telling me or if you're trying to convince me that he's on the path to becoming special, I haven't seen that yet. I've seen a good quarterback, a promising quarterback with an NFL future. But in terms of being special, I have not seen that.
What I will say is this, when it comes to him compared to guys in the draft class and before him, whatever, I think he is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, working with the worst bag in the league He has nothing around him. Caleb Williams, you're like, man, oh, look at the way he's taken off.
Yeah.
He came in with a good core quarterbacks. They went out and drafted Roman Dunze in the first 10 picks. Then this year they went out and got I can't think of the kids, the other receiver they got in the second round from Missouri. They got another receiver for him. They hired Ben Johnson, an offensive genius in today's football. You got the play calling, they increased the offensive line, they gave him weapons to play with. And you're like, man, look how much better he looks. It's like the Patriots with the receivers is like, well, we got the same guys. We're just going to give you, what's left of Stephon Diggs. Work with that. Jaden Daniels came in with an NFL roster. If Drake May had JJ McCarthy's offense around him, we'd be looking at him totally different because he'd be allowed to miss high. You can miss high when Justin Jefferson's standing there that can make the play. You see what I'm saying? With this receiving group, he has to hit guys in the numbers, or you're not going to get anything out of it. He hits that play to the fourth down play last week to Pop Douglas. Pop gets it, he goes backwards, he jukes whatever, he comes up short. And that's what they make. But if you had an elite receiver over there, you can throw. If that's A.J. Brown or somebody like that, you throw it over there, he's going to get those 2 yards. He's not working with the weapons that can allow him to really he has to be perfect with the Patriots. I think in other situations with other players around him, he wouldn't have to be perfect. He can throw behind the guy and the guy can catch it. He can throw it high, the guy will catch it. He can throw it low and the guy will scoop it up. He has nobody on this team that can make those kind of plays, so he has to be absolutely against the Steelers. Would he complete 15 straight passes and they still couldn't find a way to get in the end zone? It's really weird. But yeah, I think he can be better. He has to cut down on the turnovers. He starts off games with funny feet, and that's why he's throwing it high. But I think he needs to be more consistent, needs to be more accurate with the football. But I think he's heading in the right direction. But they got to figure out a way, if it's through scheme or whatever, to get some more playmakers around him to where he doesn't have to be perfect just for them to get in scoring position. And I think that's where he's struggling at right now.
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, everything you're saying is right. They need that. They need to do that for him. But I disagree in terms of if there was enough. Look, does he need all those things to really take this team to another level? Yes. But I think based on what the quarterback position is in today's NFL, he should be enough to turn this team around. And this team isn't turned around at all. Do they look a little bit different? Yeah, they look a little bit different. They're doing a little bit more down the field. I think the passing attack is better than obviously what we've seen in the last few years. But I'm not seeing enough. I'm not seeing it change fast enough. And if you're really that guy, I feel like you'd be able to make whatever you're working with work to the level of at least winning some games, being a winning way, like a Super Bowl or really making a long, deep playoff run. No. But if you're talking about winning some games and getting over 500 even, if the quarterback's that good, I feel like you got to find a way to make that happen. And it hasn't worked out that way to this point. Let's see what happens during the second half of his second year, where a lot of times we really do see that jump. So it's not like I'm writing him off. I'm just saying to this point, it is disappointing. And I'll tell you what, I'll take it a step further. It's disappointing that we have seen such a slow start from Mike Vrabel and what his program is supposed to look like.
Yeah, I think that's the story here. I think the things that are happening to them are the things that we did not expect and we thought they'd be really good at. For one, taking care of the football. The amount of fumbles they had in the Steelers game is ridiculous. The penalties. Their first few weeks, the penalties were off the charts. You can't go in your first 2 weeks and allow Geno Smith and the ghost of Tua to give you 700 yards of offense. You should not be giving up 700 yards to Tua and Geno Smith to start the season. That's where games are lost. That's how you lose. I mean, they beat Miami first time in a long time. They've won down there.
Yeah,
they won that game, but and they played good defense. I thought in the last game, Aaron Rodgers only had like 130 yards throwing the ball, and they had their moments running the ball, but the penalties, the turnovers, and it was the penalties from veterans, by the way.
Yeah.
The offensive linemen, you're expecting the rookies to get the false starts and the holdings. It's the veterans that are doing it. So things like that, I think they can clean up. Defensively, I know the defensive coordinator's been out. They haven't really had those eyes out there on the field. But I think the things that they've been bad at are things we didn't see coming. But here's the optimistic part is I think those are all correctable.
Sure.
Because I do believe if Gonzalez was there their first 3 weeks of the season, this team might be 3-0. There's some plays against the Steelers and against the Raiders that I don't think happen if Gonzalez is out there on the field, and they might win those games, even with the turnovers and with the penalties that they've been dealing with. So I think they can get better as time goes on, and I think the schedule, believe it or not, gets a lot easier as we go further, especially with the injuries that some of the teams are dealing with.
They need to. They need to, because they're going to play the Panthers this weekend that surprised us last week, and then they get the Bills after that, and you're staring at 1-4 if you lose this weekend. So you have to get it going now. We see you lined up, 617-779-0985. Some of these calls I'm excited to take. I can't wait to hear some of these calls based on what it looks like the callers want to discuss, especially in terms of Drake May. We're going to do that next. We'll get to you. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero, 98.5, The Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5, The Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
He's not too young for me to give him a nickname that you're not going to love.
Okay,
you ready?
let's hear it. I'm ready for it. He probably deserves it.
Drake, maybe. You got to say like, Drake, maybe, right? He may be good. I don't know. Is this an even week or an odd week?
That's so good. I'm never going to call him that, but that's really good.
Okay.
It's just a really good nickname.
It's Drake Maybe. I'm sorry.
I feel like that might stick unless he can shake it.
Come on, maybe. Let's do it. Have some fun out there, kid.
Just don't have your one terrible play half. I'm a complete believer. I have an incredible amount of Drake May stock, but he just can't help it. Man,
maybe.
I got distracted.
It's all good.
Yeah, so I'll give you another name. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Some people might disagree. I think he could be on a similar-ish type of trajectory to Drew Bledsoe. Good quarterback, puts up numbers, has some success, but is he a special elite level quarterback? Maybe not. Probably
Drew
not.
Bledsoe had Curtis Martin and Ben Coates.
That's true.
And a Pro Bowl left tackle.
That's true. So, that could be the difference. Let's go to some of the calls. Spence is in Beverly. Hey, Spence.
Guys, how are you? Great show.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Couple of things I want to bring up. We got to be patient with Drake May. Very patient. Look at Josh Allen. Look what he did. He was a turnover machine. Now he's some type of superstar. Okay? We got to be patient. We've been spoiled here with Tom Brady. Okay. The bigger problem you have right now is why Diggs isn't running down the field and hitting him in the end zone. What is he, Julian Edelman all of a sudden? The kid's going to lose his head. Someone's going to crush him. It's just a matter of time. It's the stupidest thing to do with Diggs I've ever seen. Let him run to the end zone and let Drake hit him on the run. That will be a touchdown. It's like, we got to open up the offense a little bit here. They know what's coming. The other teams are laughing. They're laughing at New England. And Vrabel, he's not what you think he is. He's nowhere near what you think he is. Look what he's doing. Mayo had better numbers last year at this point with the team. Better numbers. He got more talent on the team this year. What is going on, guys?
So we have the sheet, Cerrone, that George printed out, and shout out to George, who does a great job, obviously, prepping the show. There is a part of the sheet. Where is it, George, here? Oh, here we go. 420. Now, I don't know if it'll happen at 420, but he has it on the rundown. Vrabel versus Mayo debate. Have the Patriots regressed under Mike Vrabel? And I said to George before the show, I said the fact that that he even had to type that sentence out is just devastating. That we even have to talk about, maybe the answer is no, and they haven't regressed, and that's fine. But the fact that that's even on the table to discuss is so devastating. And to the caller, okay, everybody loves to bring out Josh Allen, okay? Again, like it or not, Josh Allen in that year, in one of those years where he was turning the ball over all the time, 10-6, baby. He was still winning. They were a winning team that year, even though that was before and that was a level below what he ultimately became once they got Diggs, once Brian Daboll got there and he became, the MVP candidate. They were still winning games. Those teams that you want, or those quarterbacks that you emulate, Lamar Jackson, obviously, Joe Burrow, Mahomes, obviously, they won in that second year. Now, did they have different levels of weapons and all the coaching? Sure. But they still found a way to win, and it wasn't a carbon copy of the year before. Mike is in Boston. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. What's going on? Thanks, Joe. Hey, I just want to say that you got to remember that Drake May, he didn't play the first 4 games last year, maybe 5 games, whatever it was. So, I mean, you got to give him a break. Look, Josh McDaniels and everything else, going to learn a whole new system. He had that garbage from Van Pelt last year, and, I think we give it some time, just like the other guy said.
Okay, well, I hear that. Are you considering this his first, or check that, his second year as a starter, Cerrone?
Kind of. I mean, I get it. The games played. I don't think he's played a full season's worth of games yet. I don't think he's played 17 games or whatever it is. I mean, he might be or whatever. I don't have the numbers right here, but I mean, it's still almost like being a rookie situation because of the new offense. They completely flipped their roster around. He has a whole new offensive line. Not to say a new group of receivers, but his top targets have changed. He still got Stevenson behind him. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. But the play calling and all that stuff is different. Quarterback coach, everything is different. I do give him that. But I do think with all those changes and then the lack of experience, you want to call it that, the kid's completing 72% of his passes. He has almost 800 yards passing over the first 3 weeks of the season. And his yards per pass is right up there with all the other guys. Statistically, he's doing it, and it looks well. I just think the reason this team is not sitting there at 3-0 is not so much because of him or the offense or the fumbles last week. I think their defense is bad. They're 30th in the league in passing defense. They're 30th. Nobody, if you could have bet the house, no one would have predicted this team being 30th after facing Geno Smith, Tua, and whatever's left of Aaron Rodgers. They'd be 30th in passing in pass defense, even with Gonzalez being out. And by the way, they're still top 5, I think, in sacks, and they're still sitting near 30th in passing defense. That's the reason this team is where they're at right now. But I think Drake May is coming along. Yeah, he doesn't look like he's done anything special. Big. I think he was on his way to a big performance against Miami, but the defense couldn't get off the field. They just couldn't get off, and he couldn't get the ball back enough. But when he got it, they scored. But I think the defense is the issue with this team, and now you got your best defender coming back, hopefully, and that should change. And if you have a good defense, that means more 3-and-outs. That means more opportunity for Drake May and for the offense to get more points, and that helps that offense out a lot. You're the worst rushing team in the league. He leads the team in rushing, and he's the quarterback. You have one rushing touchdown as a team, and it's Drake May. So you're getting nothing from your running backs. You're getting nothing from your pass defense, and you're getting a ton of penalties and a ton of fumbles. That's why they're 1-2 right now, but I think they can be correctable. And I think Gonzalez being back there completely changes your defense around, and you should be getting more 3-and-outs and more opportunity for Drake May in this offense.
They don't look the way I wanted them to look, though, Cerrone. Like, I thought that they would look a little cleaner. I thought that Drake May would look a little bit. He's looked like he's struggled in the, he doesn't look comfortable back there. He looks timid. He looks tentative. He looks uncomfortable. That's the best way to put it. He just does not look at ease back there. And again, nobody wants to hear this. And maybe it's ill-advised, but when you talked about a young Tom Brady, and that's the bar. That's the bar, whether you like it or not. We were here. We watched it. I remember John Madden in 2002. Now, he'd already won a Super Bowl, but he's talking about how he's just not struggling. Brady's like, was he the best passer in the league? Was he an MVP? No, but he just wasn't struggling. It looked like Drake May really struggles. It doesn't mean he doesn't make some great plays or doesn't have some moments where you look and say, wow, this is really good. But he does look a lot of times like he's struggling. It's just hard. It's not something he's comfortable doing all the time in whatever play he's in.
I think it's his body language and the way he moves. He looks that way, but the ball's getting out and it's going where it should go. I think he's been fine. I think if you would have asked people before the season started at this point, without knowing records or anything, hey, this dude will have 6 touchdowns, including 1 rushing.
Yep.
He's got 2 interceptions. He's completing 72% of his passes. He's top 10 in yards per game and yards per pass and all these things. People would take it. Say, that's good.
Yeah.
Looking across the board, you wouldn't say Pop Douglas would only have 5 catches.
Oh, man.
That Pop Douglas has been way down from what we thought he was going to be. Stephon Diggs, we knew he's come back from the injury. We didn't know what was expected out of him. Booty at times, he looks great in drive by drive, it looks different for him. Put it like this. Now, this might be one of the craziest hot takes I've probably ever said in my life.
I love it.
Joe Burrow, to me, is no better than what Drake May is now. He's surrounded by Pro Bowl receivers, and he has been since he was in college. He goes from Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in college to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in the NFL. And the minute just one of those guys are out, just one, you're like, what the heck is wrong with Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
He has to have those guys playing elite just for him to look elite, and he still gets sacked more than anybody in the league. He's always hurt, and he always comes up short in big games. What would he look like if he was banking on Pop Douglas instead of Jamar Chase or T. Higgins in that situation? Talent around these quarterbacks is huge in today's NFL, and I think Drake May, for what he's doing with what he's surrounded with, is borderline impressive because he could be a whole lot worse.
You could look at it a bunch of different ways. Sure. I mean, they always could use more support. They've tried with the offensive line. I think the offensive line's been okay, like you said. But then, a simple way to look at it, in the first game, he got severely outplayed by Geno Smith. Now, the defense of the Patriots had something to do with that. But then in the second and then third game, rather, he throws a bad, red zone goal line interception, has the fumble. So, you're kind of 1 for 2 there. But that's where we are. I think a bigger thing, the identity of the team is severely lacking. I want to know what you think of that next. And what is their identity right now? Because I think that's a huge problem. 617-779-0985, a huge problem as we get closer to a huge game tomorrow at Gillette Stadium. 98.5 The Sports Hub, Mark Dondero, Cerrone Battle.
Boston's home for sports.
what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I understand you left the points on the field, but you were also able to put together some long drives. How do you think this could help you to build your team's identity offensively?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. I do. You know, we have to score. You have to score in this league. You have to, you know, again, I'm great with the long drives. We're going to have to continue to use that and gain confidence, but we're going to have to find ways to create explosive plays. It's hard to drive the ball 19 plays. Impressive that we can do that, but it's also a reminder that you have to hit some X plays and you have to continue to score touchdowns when you get down there after 19 plays.
Back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle. So, Cerrone, what is this team's identity right now? Because I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking at. I don't know what they want to be. I don't know what they're trying to be. I don't know if they're trying to be aggressive. I don't know if they want to run the ball, if they want to be a high-octane, throw the ball down the field type of defensive. Like, what do they want to be? What are they right now based on what you're seeing?
Oof. That's the key question. I think they don't even know. They're not sure. They've had situations where they've gone downfield in Miami and all of a sudden your kicker can't make a field goal. So now that changes how you run your offense from that point to the rest of that game. what we've seen since then, going forward on fourth down a lot. You can't trust your kicker. So that changes your game plan. Now, you have a really successful run game in Miami. You come out against the Steelers and your running back puts the ball on the ground several times. Now it's like, man, can we trust that style of football anymore? So I think they're trying to figure out what they're going to be. All new players, all new coaches, new style, trying to get pieces together. I think they're trying to figure out what can they be, what can they become, and basically what the talent they have allows them to be. I think there is a recipe there somewhere. I think they have the pieces to be something. They have to choose what they're going to be. And my personal opinion, I think when you have the Pop Douglases and Stephon Diggs getting back into game shape, and you have more, even after Chisholm, I'll throw him in there, Kyle Williams, speedy, shifty guys with an offensive line that allows you to get rid of the ball quickly. I think you have to have an offense where you spread people out and you get rid of the ball almost like a college style or a 7-on-7 type of offense where it's not big plays. It's not 20, 30-yard chunk plays. It's get the ball out quick, spread teams out, screen game. Travion Henderson, another quick body you can throw in there. And I think that's who you have to become. And I think that's similar to what Drake May, who's a younger player who's coming out of that type of structure on the college game. He wants to spread it out. He wants to use his legs. He wants to move the pocket, get rid of the ball quickly. I think that's the kind of offense they should be with the pieces they have. Now, if you want to build on that down the line, sure, but you don't have a bunch of 6'4", stretch the field wide receivers or possession receivers. You don't have guys like that. Mm-hmm. So why even try and do it? Spread teams out, be quick, use their speed and footwork, and make your way downfield that way. One missed tackle, let these guys do their work. But I think they just don't know what they have, and little mental mistakes here or there have kind of set them back week after week from now. But I think this team will get it together. I'm not saying they're going to be great, but I think they're going to have good stretches this year where they finally get on the same page, get a little more familiar with who they're trying to be and what they are going forward.
I mean, we can get into it further, but I am admittedly taking the L. I mean, maybe it's too soon, but the Pop Douglas inefficiency has shocked me. I thought with Josh McDaniels, and from what I've seen out of, I love the game that I've seen from Pop. I cannot believe how ineffective he's been. I mean, just unproductive. I cannot believe they're not using him more. I haven't seen the Julian Edelman type of routes or the Wes Welker type of routes that I've seen, them, especially under Josh McDaniels, those slot receivers utilize in the past. I can't believe he's been as ineffective as he's been. Jason is in the car. Hey, Jason.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. My opinion, the Patriots need to get back to ground and pound. If you look at Brady's early years, Antoine Smith, Corey Dillon. Yeah. So the reason he didn't need a stud wide receiver is because they had that threat of a running game. Right now, my criticism of McDaniels goes back to 2007 when they got Moss, right? He goes too pass happy. So in the Super Bowl, you see, he throw the ball 50 times with no running game. And that's the problem, is that we became a finesse. The Giants did to the Patriots what the Patriots did to the Rams, right? The Rams were that finesse offense. We were the smash mouth running game. We need to get back to smash mouth football because we don't have a stud wide receivers. We don't have those guys, Justin Jeffersons on the outside that can. So we got to run the football to take the pressure off of May. Then now, once they get sucked up, then we can start throwing the football. But we got to run the ball. Josh McDaniels abandons the run way too quick. He gives up on it, and that's why I never liked him as a choice for OC.
See, this is the problem, Cerrone. And I understand the sentiment of the caller. I get it. Yeah. He makes sense. Mm-hmm. I just feel like that's what I've been trying to evolve beyond. I don't want to be ground and pound anymore. We've been that. They've been that. That was what Mac Jones was. That's what Cam Newton was. I was hoping that in year two, again, it's going to take some time, and a lot of times it's that second half of year two where you really see the jump. But I was hoping to see a little bit more of an ability to not just push the ball down the field and be more dynamic, but to do that without making the big mistakes. And while limiting those mistakes. I want to so badly evolve into an offense that can win a shootout. I'm sick of trying to win games 17-14. I want to be able to win a game where the other quarterback plays well. And you still find a way to win because your quarterback plays better. Like, that's how the game is played today. And those are the teams that win the World Series, that win the Super Bowl, that get to the Super Bowl, the teams that are able to throw the ball and to be dynamic. And I just was hoping they were at a point where they could do more of that. And they haven't. And that's disappointing.
I think me too, I point to myself, put too much into what I thought these Patriots receivers were going to be. I was big on Pop Douglas. He had a good camp.
Same.
He was the guy shining every day. You read all the reports, Pop Douglas.
His joint practices.
He was lighting it up.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, he's done nothing. And I think I would say put too much. I put too much on them. I thought they were going to be playmakers. You know, we thought Diggs was going to be the one guy that was going to be slow to come along, but I thought they would be playmakers. I didn't think Hunter Henry was going to look like a Pro Bowl after the first 3 weeks of the season. We didn't even hardly talk about him during the summer, but yet he's been the one consistent with this team. And I think I think they want to be that, Mark. I think they want to be the team that puts up big numbers in the passing game. Josh McDaniels, he wants to spread you out. He wants to put up a ton of points and then run the ball late. That's what they were in the time. The good caller mentioned, when Corey Dillon they ran the ball late. They got leads. They were up 28-10, and then you were done after that because they would just run the clock out. But a huge part of that, the call said when we ground and pound late, win games, whatever, you can't have a running back that fumbles this much. You can't run the ball that much if the dude keeps putting the ball on the ground. Corey Dillon's last 2 years in New England, he had 3 total fumbles in 2 years, in his last 2 years. Total, 3. You don't know if you're going to get that in one game from Ramondre Stevenson, and that's scary. So that takes away their ability to be balanced. But I do think they want to pass the ball. But if the Pop Douglas aren't getting open, you're waiting on Stephon Diggs. You need somebody else to emerge. And I don't know if it's going to be Anthony Chisholm, who a lot of people are calling for, or Kyle Williams, who the guy I really want to see, because I think he has playmaker ability. So one of those or both of those guys gotta become what we think they can for this offense to take off the way we all want to see it, which is down the field.
And that's the other thing. You just said it, and I'll just take it a step further. You want to run the ball, you need the guy to hold on to the ball. You're going to try to run the ball. So it's nice to think you can go back to ground and pound. And by the way, I know he was great in week 2. A couple of years ago, I was saying that Ramondre Stevenson was a top 10 back in the league. So if that's the case, ground and pound makes a little bit more sense because you've got a back that's really good. If you got a guy that has, maybe lost a step, I don't want to say he's lost a step, but maybe not as productive as he was. Lost confidence, fumbles the ball. He's inconsistent in terms of the ball security. That going to ground and pound is no sure thing. You might end up in a bad or even a worse place. So it's a tough spot where they're in. And that's why, Cerrone, I don't know what they're going to try to do this week. Like, what do you want to do this weekend? You know what I'd love to see? And again, I'm biased because I've been a fan of the player. I'd love to see them call a game for Pop Douglas. Make him the centerpiece of the game plan. Yeah. And let's see what he can really do. Is he really as bad as he's played? Or is it just we haven't found a way to get him involved enough or in the right way? And let's see how he can, if he can emerge or if he can really step up, if I can prioritize him a little bit more and try to put him in the most advantageous situations possible and not just put him on the back burner in a package here or in a package there and see what happens. Let's go to Matt in Rhode Island. Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, Cerrone, what you were just saying about spreading them out, the quick hitters, I totally agree. You do that, then you work off the play action, and then you work off the double move, and that's how you get the potential long ball. But this game is definitely. They just had their best game of the year, and everyone saw what the Patriots did against Pittsburgh. So, I think they win tomorrow's game by a field goal. Thanks.
Yeah, well, they need to win. And we're going to get to that. How big is the game tomorrow? What happens if they don't win tomorrow? And by the way, Cerrone, let's think about this. How do you fix how bad they've been at home? How do you fix it? That has been unacceptable how bad they've been at home. It
should be automatic.
At home. It's been so disgustingly bad. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
We need to get back to Smash Mouth football.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
sports, yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You plan to start at running back?
We have different packages. I'm sure if we go, I don't know what the first package is, but if you're asking me if Ramondre is on some sort of discipline, no. The discipline is we need our best players to play in a game and do their job and take care of the football, and we all have to do that. And so Drake had an interception and a fumble. We're not going to play Josh right now. So we have to fix those things. The people around them have to be better. And I'm confident that we will. And if it continues to I'm not going to talk about the alternative. I'll go down that road later. But those are things that we have to get fixed. But we also have to do good things with football and make people miss and make yards and catch it and block, when they blitz. So we're confident that those guys can do that.
Ultimately, and I've sort of done a 180 on this, Cerrone. Initially this season, to start the season, I was kind of like, look, Drake May might make some mistakes, and that's okay. If they're going to try to push the ball down the field and be more dynamic and get a little bit more aggressive offensively, I'm okay with that. But with that being said, I've sort of reversed course because I don't want him to make as many mistakes. Why? Number one, it'll help the on-field product, obviously, if Drake May's not turning the ball over. I still want them. I want it all. I want them to be dynamic, and I want them to not make mistakes, okay?
Yeah.
But if you can't avoid the mistakes, obviously it hurts you on the field, but it also torpedoes your ability to demand of your teammates as the quarterback and subsequent leader. How do you demand that they're not making mistakes, that they are committed to that level of excellence if you continue to make mistakes? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what Brady was so effective at, and I get it, it's Tom Brady. But you can't be making mistakes and then go and demand everyone else around you doesn't make mistakes because you're making mistakes too. That was so good and so effective for Tom Brady because he didn't make mistakes. So he could demand that you better get on my level. I'm going to take care of the ball. I'm not going to make mistakes, and you better not either. That's the expectation, and that's the Patriot way, the quote-unquote Patriot way that everybody thought Bill Belichick created. But no, it was Tom Brady, and that's why I need Drake May to limit mistakes.
Yeah, you have to. And bad mistakes. The goal line interception was bad. I understand it was tipped or whatever, but it still was a bad throw. He should have thrown it better. He said himself, I should have threw it in the back of the end zone. And he got anxious. He just saw it and just threw it. But he's got to clean that up. But your running back can't be on the one and fumble between the 1 yard line and the end zone. You can't have me. I just saw that happen in the Illinois game earlier. You can't be at the goal line and fumble the ball. You can't do that. And especially when you're coming off a season where you led the league in fumbles, it was an issue. You fumble earlier in the game, you fumble again at the 1 or 1 inch line, whatever, right before you go in. Those are game changing situations, momentum, killers. And so was Drake May's interception. That's an opportunity for them to go in and score, go to halftime, get the ball back, whatever. They both were killers. Every time they got in the red zone, it was an issue.
Sorry to interrupt, Cerrone, but how about in week 1, you had the lead and the ball in the third quarter, and that interception changed the game. Similar to what you're saying. Yeah,
just bad. It's timing of the turnovers. It's bad. I mean, if you for example, there's different turnovers. Let's say it's 3rd and 20, 3rd and 15. You're trying to get something. You take a 50-yard shot down the field. If they pick it off, they pick it off. So what? It's equal to like a punt. Correct. Yeah, it shows up as an interception in the book, but in reality, you're about to kick it away anyway. You take a shot for a PI or whatever. Aaron Rodgers is notorious for that. But they're not even in that situation. They're all bad turnovers. But you can't have a running back do that much. And you're not subbing the quarterback out, but you have to send a message to this running back like, look, man, this is the one thing we told you to clean up this offseason. We preached about we're going to take advantage of bad football from other teams. You've been the team with the bad football. You've been the ones with the bad football. You're not forcing anybody else to play bad football. Ramondre, I'm sorry. Look, we drafted Travion Henderson. He has to send a message to Stevenson. And it's the same thing that we demanded as fans last year when Ramondre got to his 7th or 8th turnover, whatever it was. And we were looking at Mayo like, hey, man, you got to get this guy out of here and send a message. And he didn't in that Chargers game. He missed one snap or whatever came out there. And we were all over Mayo for the same thing. The message still has to be sent to Stevenson. Dude, I'm sorry. We're going to take you out. you're not a 1,500-yard back or a 20 touchdown back. Any to begin with, we're going to have to send a message. The rookie's up. And if you keep this up, we're going to find somebody else that can do it because you're not good enough to keep throwing back out there. But you have to take care of the football and force turnovers on the other end, but you can't be turning over at the rate that they have been so far in the first 2 weeks of the season.
You got to establish a standard, a level of expectation. That has to be, the message has to be clear. Let's go to Jeff.
The whole roster.
Jeff is at work. Hey, Jeff.
Hi, guys. Love the show and the topic, but how long is Vrabel's leash? Meaning, like, he's not going to get fired even next year if the same season goes along. If we're 5-12 or 4-13. So what I'm asking is, how long is his leash and Drake May's at the same time before we say, hey, we got to wash this?
Well, May's leash is going to be longer.
The young quarterback's longer.
The quarterback is the third overall pick, and the stats would back that up. Again, whether or not he's a winner, elite of the elite, that's a lofty goal. We'll see. But the stats do at least paint the picture that he's going to be a productive NFL quarterback. He might not be top of the league, but he could be productive enough where he could get a second contract and all those things. Vrabel's a lot more interesting to me. A lot of football left, but to this point, they really haven't been that much better than with Gerard Mayo. So, a lot of football left, as I said. The thing Mike Vrabel has going for him, obviously, is the experience. He's taken teams to the championship game. He's won playoff games. He won a big playoff game here. Ended Tom Brady's career. So he has that over what Gerard Mayo, I guess, didn't have last year as a rookie head coach.
Staff, too.
Yeah. So, right. So, I think that Vrabel's going to, obviously, I think he's going to get more than a year. But, come on. Are we not going to be, we expect them to turn it around to an extent, right?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And it's not just a coaching change. They completely flipped this roster. It was 70% of the roster has been flipped over.
Right.
They have a new roster. All the assistant coaches are new. They're all veteran guys. And the defensive coordinator hasn't been there, who's a true veteran. He's been around for a really long time. They have veteran guys all over the place that should be better in these situations. But I think he's going to get the opportunity to continue to get his roster better. There's still some positions they need to improve here. Linebackers, they need probably more running backs. You still need a younger, explosive receiver. All those things. So he's going to get a chance to do all that.
Yep.
But I think he can't have another 4-win season or anything like that. And I don't think he will. I think they will be. I had them at 7-8 wins. I think they'll be close to that. But I think he'll get a chance. And I think Drake May, like you said, the numbers. If he ends the season with 4,000 yards or 28, 30 total touchdowns, including with his legs, it's hard to justify getting rid of a quarterback with numbers like that. But a head coach with 4 wins, it's easy. But I think they're both here for at least a couple more years.
And just quickly to add to that, the draft class. How does the draft class materialize?
If Will Campbell ends up being a Pro Bowl, he's good.
Henderson, I'm still high on Trey. I'm a little disappointed. He sort of started slower than I thought, but if he's a player, we'll see about Kyle Williams. Those guys, like that, can they be real players for this team and not what we've seen towards the end of the Belichick era and beyond? Ray is in Revere. Hey, Ray.
Yeah, guys, I listened to this talk about Ramondre Stevenson, and guys, he got an $8 million signing bonus this year, and he's got $9 million in guaranteed salary. I don't think he's going anywhere. If we should be benching anybody, we should be benching the guy who gave him that contract. Okay, but talk about the team. I fully expect them to finish above 500. I think they've got 7 games left against teams that haven't won a game yet this year. I'm looking at the season in totality. I don't have high expectations, but they have an absolutely lame schedule. So from my vantage point, if they don't win at least 9 games, then it will be a disaster. But that's my expectation.
Thanks for the call. I think 9 games at this point, based on what I've seen, I'm not going there. But again, I go back to Drake May and the quarterback. It should be a little bit easier to get wins if you have a true dude at quarterback in his second year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think here's the thing is if they get the 9 wins, I want it to be they got the 9 wins because they were just good. I don't want them to get the 9 wins because they're playing Flacco in the Browns or they got a backup quarterback in Cincinnati on their schedule. They got the Jets twice. I don't want them to back into 8 wins. I mean, you're still not a good team. You just had the easiest schedule of any team in the league, which I think they're going to probably end up with the injuries that have happened. But I do think we expected them to be better, to look better at this point. I think coming out of the first 3 games, we thought at Miami would be tough. Some people had the Steelers as one of the best teams in the AFC. So some had them at 2-1 or 1-2. Here's the part of the schedule where everybody said they had to make a name for themselves. We should not be sitting here talking about beating Carolina as a must-win. They should blow the doors off Carolina. And this is a banged-up Carolina team, a bad Carolina team that's banged up coming into your building. This should be an automatic W like it was a few years ago. And now once you get to the Saints, who aren't trying to win games, you see what I'm saying? You got the Jets twice with a quarterback coming off concussions and passing issues. The Browns, the Titans, you must win these games. We're not expecting them to beat the Bills or the Ravens, but you got to beat these teams like Carolina come tomorrow afternoon. If not, it's a real disaster. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, they got you. I got that. But you should not lose to the Carolina Panthers come tomorrow or these other teams down the line, including the Saints. And I mentioned the Titans and some of these other teams. You got to win those games.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Cerrone, and we got to get at headlines. I'm looking I don't think this team right now is good enough to talk like that. You look at the schedule. Carolina,
they're circling you too.
Buffalo, the Saints aren't good, but I don't think the Patriots are good enough for me to sit here and look at a game again, especially with how they played at home, and look at a game against the Panthers and say, yeah, you should win that game. I don't know if they can win that game. They'd have a chance to win that game. I think they have the players to be able to win that game, but they're not good enough where I can sit here and say, yeah, you should win that game. I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know who this team is.
No automatics.
There's no automatic. I mean, even a game like, as we go down a little bit into October, at the Titans or at home against the Browns. You've sucked at home. The Browns just beat Green Bay. Are you chalking that up as a win? I'm not. I can't do that right now. I have no idea. The Falcons, they just got killed by the Panthers, but they got some weapons. It's not a bad offense, and we'll see how Penix progresses in all those. Is that an automatic win with how you've played at home at Tampa with Baker Mayfield doing what he's been doing? I know Mike Evans is out. That's a tough game. I don't know. There are no guaranteed wins here, so they're not good enough for that. Now we'll see what happens after this game against the Panthers, which is a borderline must-win. Let's get headlines. We'll be right back. More on this. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
As you know by now, the Red Sox clinched their first postseason berth since 2021 after their 4-3 win, walk-off win over the Tigers on Friday night. Don Rafaela doing the honors with a triple that put the Red Sox in the playoffs. It's their first playoff action, as I said, since 21, and that action will come on Tuesday against either the Blue Jays, the Yankees, or the Guardians, and they'll be on the road. Some things still need to unfold, but the Red Sox will be on the road when they get that wild card series underway. The Patriots will host the Carolina Panthers at Gillette Stadium Sunday, 1 p.m. Bob and Zoe on the call. Christian Gonzalez officially listed as questionable, but is expected to play. Meanwhile, running back Chuba Hubbard listed as questionable on the Panthers side. At the Ryder Cup, currently, the United States down in a deep hole, 8.5 to 3.5. Europe with the advantage, and in the afternoon session, 3 of the 4 matches are currently blue. So Europe is up in 3 of the 4 matches. They're only 1 up in those matches, so the U.S. still has a chance to flip the script, but it is looking less and less likely. The later this gets, the United States needs to really make a play now. Bruins in preseason action again tonight, 5 p.m. against the Flyers. Ryan Johnson, Bob Beers on the call. You can listen to that on 98.5 The Sports Hub and the Revolution. After the Bruins will be in action against Atlanta, also on the Sports Hub. Headlines are brought to you by Valvoline. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-thru oil change and Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Mark Dondero for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update later.
slot. Right circle to Zacha. Sends one across. McAvoy shot, and he scores!
The Bruins play here. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5.
Again, they're in. I would love to see Roman Anthony back. Man, would I love to see that. Just to be a part of this and to feel like the Red Sox are as close to full strength as possible. Still going to be fun. Kudos to them for what they've achieved this year and all the ups and downs and kind of overcoming all that and getting to where they are. Looking forward to the postseason, but I'd love to see that kid back. Let's go back to the call, Cerrone. We have checked that. It's Brandon in Boston. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my phone call. So I don't know if anybody hit on this at all, but Mike Vrabel is a 500 head coach. I mean, he won 3 playoff games in Tennessee, then he lost 3. So right now you have a 500 head coach. I mean, he's basically mediocre. I don't see this team going to the playoffs, so he's going to be below 500 after this season. I have them penciled in as a 5-7 win, but I would have kept Mayo. The reason why is he could have achieved a lot. He was under a lot of scrutiny because he didn't have his entourage. He didn't have the chance to build his team, but say the offense was clicking and, they're scoring over 20 points, but the defense was lacking. Okay, well, next season we can address it in free agency and in the draft. And then the next season, then you have a better stride of winning. Like, okay, now we have to enhance on our special teams. Just go by. I would have gave him the full year just to see what he can do and see how he's progressing year after year. But with Vrabel, you know who he is. And it was a Hollywood show signing with him. I don't think this team's going to go anywhere, honestly.
Look, there's a lot of factors here. Drafting. Are they going to get the draft picks? Are they going to get the draft production from the guys that they drafted? I mean, we talked about it ad nauseam. They need the draft to come back to New England. The quarterback, obviously, they need the quarterback to take that next step if they're going to get to where they want to go. I don't think the conversation is should they have kept Gerard Mayo. I don't think that's the conversation. The conversation is should they have hired Mike Vrabel or should they have gone for an offensive-minded type of, one of those guys? That's the question I think they should be, or if you want to ask anything, that's what you ask. But I still think they find a way to turn it around. I mean, Vrabel wasn't a mirage, I felt like, in Tennessee. I thought he was legit. They did some nice things under him.
Yeah, they had one year that was really good when they got to the conference championship. But again, it came down to talent. They had talent.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And I think across the NFL, and I believe this not just from this year, but I've always believed this about professional sports. College coaching, because they're all kids. They're all inexperienced kids who need direction. In the NFL, it's talent. It's that simple. Dan Campbell is not an offensive defensive genius. He's not a defensive.
How about Dan Quinn?
Right. These guys aren't mastermind head coaches. They have superior talent. It's that simple. You got to have talent. Last year with Gerard Mayo, I understand people looking at the numbers, whatever. Yeah, they didn't. The turnovers were less, and the penalties were way down. Actually, but the problem with last year's Patriots, they came into the season without much talent, especially offensively. Mm-hmm. But then you lose David Andrews, your captain. You know what I'm saying? You lose Peppers with his stuff. You lose Christian Barmore. You lose Bentley. That's your defense is gone. Your offensive line was a mess. And then for he had to start Jacoby Brissett for a month. What would this offense look right now? Would look like with Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback? There was no chance of them doing anything that looked anything resembling an NFL team. And that being said, they should have beat the Seahawks in week 2. They've had a blocked field goal. They should have beat the Colts, lost in overtime. They lost to the Titans in overtime. They lost to the Rams on the last play of the game. They played close games. The difference between last year, this year, whatever, it's talent. The talent is still bad. You have to get great talent in. And then the coach puts you over when you're in the playoffs and you need the right call here or there. But you're not going anywhere unless you have a lead. Look what's happening in Kansas City right now. They're losing all those pieces that were Super Bowl winners, and they still got Mahomes, and they still got Andy Reid and Kelsey, and they suck.
Yeah.
They suck. They don't have the talent around them because they're throwing to Juju and Tyquan Thornton. We know what that looks like, and it looks bad even with Mahomes. Mahomes is only completing 58% of his passes. Pat Mahomes.
Yep.
Because he doesn't have the talent around him. It's never the coaching, it's the talent. This team has to either increase talent or develop the talent that's on this team. Like I said, is it Efton Chisholm? Is it Williams? We don't know yet, but they got to figure out a way to get the right talent on the field with this team.
Drafting, man. They've got to get back into. You mentioned the Lions draft. You mentioned the
they nailed the draft.
The Chiefs. I think a reason that we're seeing what we're seeing. They've kind of dried up a little bit in the draft. Some of their
the Ravens, a great drafting team.
Great drafting team. Rashee Rice obviously he's had his issues. A good receiver. They drafted him nice, but he hasn't been able to stay on the field. He's been hurt. He's been in trouble. Xavier Worthy looks good, but now he's hurt. They just haven't had, they had that run there of obviously Chris Jones and Nick Bolton was a good pick and Trent McDuffie was a good pick, but they haven't had that level of drafting on the offensive side, and guys have gotten hurt, and it's kind of gone the wrong way.
The Eagles are where they're at because they nail the draft.
Exactly. Eagles a great
They go in the SEC and say, give me the best players from Alabama, Georgia, and Texas, and we'll go from here.
There you go. Let's go to Dan in Rhode Island. Hey, Dan.
Hey,
Danny. What's up, man?
How you doing?
How are you?
How you doing, guys? Good. Mark, I'll keep it simple. You don't have to go into the whole spiel about it's really karma with the Americans. And I can't even think of a sporting event or just sports in general.
You're talking about the Ryder Cup. Yep.
Of course, yeah. Can't think of any sporting event where one side demands to be compensated for their time. $500,000. Yeah, they may give it a charity, a part of it, whatever. And you got another side who would literally, and this isn't hyperbole, would pay $500,000 out of their own pocket to play on the team to get a chance. That's not hyperbole. That's the truth. And that's all you need to know about the Americans and the Europeans and why this keeps going this way. That's really it. Take care, guys.
Thanks for the call. That's definitely a perspective. But like I said, I opened the show, Cerrone, just making a comment on the Ryder Cup. It reminded me of the Super Bowl, the Rams, Patriots, Super Bowl 36, and I'll never forget watching Media Day and how just jovial the Rams were. It was just like a coronation. They were so excited, and it was just a joy to be there.
They had already won.
It was in the bag.
Let's just get this over with.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was a ceremonial thing that they were going to do on Sunday, and it reminded me of that when I watched and listened to the Americans. Before this, they're talking about who's going to have the best fist pumps in the crowd and all. It's like you've done nothing, and the Europeans are seething at that. They've been listening to this rhetoric about Bethpage for years. They've circled this, and they always are up for the Ryder Cup. And I just felt like it was because they thought that the New York crowd was going to be so intense that it was going to be a formality that obviously America is going to win. The Europeans aren't going to be able to handle it. Well, no, you got to still win. You got to make birdies, and they haven't. And now they're getting their tails kicked, and it's just really
embarrassed.
Really disappointing. And they're going to have to. And we talk about that. I feel like this has come up a million times, but they're going to have to really look if they want to have success in this event. They got to look at it. They got to look at how they prepare and the way they view the event and the way they pick the players and everything, because to lose this is a huge disaster.
Real quick, I just want to just throw this question at you. This seems to be an issue in American sports across the board. If it's anything outside of what they normally do, how come we can't get guys to get up for side events? Like the caller said, guys would pay money, on that side to play in this event. And in America, it's like we can't get guys to play in all-star games.
Yeah.
We can't get them to be a part of contests. We can't get them to do anything outside of their normal schedule or take anything serious. Olympics. Look at the Olympic basketball. We got to keep digging up guys that are 40 years old to get out there and play because everybody else is turning it down. When did we stop caring about events outside of our normal circle? Not the fans. We love it. But the players, how do we get the players to care about this stuff again to where they take it serious, to where they don't go out there and don't get embarrassed?
Yeah, that's probably part of it. But I think, you talk about Tiger Woods. Do you know how many Ryder Cups? Do you know this? Do you know how many Ryder Cups Tiger Woods won?
Not sure.
One. And
that's the one here.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most shocking stats in sports to me as a Tiger fan and all that.
Yeah.
a guy that played 20 plus years. They do this every 2 years, not every 4 years like the Olympics, every 2 years to win.
He's only got one.
Is shocking. In 1999 in Brookline, that's the only one he won. It's unbelievable. And now we look at Scheffler. He's been awful in this. He's losing again. He's like 0-3 and if he loses this, he's like 0-3 and 0-4 or something. Completely
unbelievable.
Ridiculous with how good he's been. So I don't know what the problem is. They've talked about it. Phil Mickelson, I remember years ago, went crazy in one of the press conferences that we need to change the way we do this and that. And Phil was supposed to be the captain here before the whole live thing screwed it up. Mm-hmm. Let's get one more quick call in. Mike wants to talk about the Patriots. He's in Framingham. Hey, Mike.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just listened to your diatribe on talent. So why do you expect Drake May to be a winning quarterback with no talent? That's number one.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you have another question, Mike?
No, I just wanted to point out that the season's not over. You act like the season's over.
Nope. There's a lot of football.
Not over.
It's not. I love it. It's not over. There's a lot of football left.
A whole lot.
But I just, to answer Mike's question, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't care. I feel like if the quarterback is that good, he will find a way to either A, elevate the players around him, or B, be the reason that the team just finds ways to win because he's so good. And again, I'm not talking about a Super Bowl or winning a deep playoff run. I'm just talking about being 500. Yeah, competitive, 500 or better because he's that good. And you need to, to really win, you need the other things. You need pieces. You need the weapons. You need the coaching. You need to have the experience.
To be consistent winner.
Right. But I'm just saying get to 500, and that's what the best quarterbacks do. That's what I'm saying.
And to add on to your point, Mark, just to kind of make it the way I'm understanding it, go back to last season. He makes the miraculous play to Ramondre Stevenson in the end zone in Tennessee to send that game into overtime. Defense gets the ball back. Okay, now, May, you've got a chance to win this in overtime. He throws the pick. You want him to not throw a pick in that situation to at least get in field goal range. They have a situation against the Colts last year. Anthony Richardson, who's on the bench now, converts fourth down after fourth down, gets him in the position. Drake May has a chance to win that game, doesn't make the play at the end to win it. Rams game last year. We know the Rams were a better team than last year's Patriots. That blown coverage on the defense, they allowed that touchdown late. But the Patriots still had a chance to win with the ball downfield. Miscommunication with Pop Douglas throws an interception. That's 3 games that he could have won. Mm-hmm. Last week, all the turnovers. You had the ball in your hands with a chance late in the game. Yeah, you threw it to Pop Douglas. He didn't get across the line. But you want to see Drake May have the wherewithal to say, he's behind the line. I'm not throwing it to him. I got to look elsewhere. Nope, he's covered. He's not. It's going to be a hard play. Let me try and hit somebody else who's beyond the sticks. That's the step you want to see him make to where you can say, okay, he's good enough to keep you at 500. You put pieces around him. Now you go from 500 to a Super Bowl contender. That's where you want to see with Drake May. And I think we haven't seen enough of him yet to say that he's there to pull those, to steal victories away when it looks like they're about to take an L. We haven't seen that from him yet.
Haven't seen it. And that's what I'm waiting for. Because if he's that good, the position he plays is so impactful. The most important in sports. You should be able to impact winning. And even if you don't have all the weapons or the best weapons around you, you need to impact winning more than he has to this point. And we haven't seen it. It's not over. There's a lot of football left.
A lot of football.
All of those
He's going to have
things.
chances.
But I need to see it more. 617-779-0985. Mark Cerrone, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5.
just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I was happy y'all lost, though, because to my Knicks. I'm not going to lie about that either, okay?
You knew it was coming, right?
You know how I am, all right? But as I'm looking at Boston right now, you're out. Drew Holiday's gone now. Porzingis is gone now. Horford's probably gone. I'm wondering, how are you feeling about the Boston Celtics for this upcoming season? I think it's a prime opportunity for Jaylen Brown to show what he's made of.
Absolutely.
Because the brother can ball. I don't think he's appreciated enough either. But what are your thoughts about the Boston Celtics, considering the myriad of changes that have taken place?
Well, for one, this is like maybe the third time. I haven't said I'm not playing this season.
Okay.
The most important thing is a full recovery, being 100%.
That's right.
Not rushing.
Yeah, don't rush back.
At all.
Don't do that.
But also, I don't go to rehab 6 days a week for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But with that being said, with being a part of the organization and the Celtics, there is a standard that we play to, that we uphold, regardless of, who we have in the lineup, who's on the team, who's not. There's a sense of pride that we have when we put that uniform on, and we always are competing to win a championship. And that standard will not change.
That was Jason Tatum on with Stephen A. Smith. We're going to get to some Celtics real quick. Let's get Jeff in Rhode Island. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's going on?
Good. Hey, real quick, a couple things. One on the Patriots and one on the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And as a 49er fan, I always hear the talk about the talent that's put around Brock Purdy. Like, Brock Purdy's good, but with that talent, he looks so much better. And I think that's what the Patriots promise. It's like you guys said, getting that talent around him to raise his, to make him look like his level is raised. And as far as the Ryder Cup, it's been that Europe has always been the inferior tour from way back when. And now those players have been groomed to want to beat the Americans. And now they're not intimidated by them because these guys are all playing together now. So the intimidation is gone. And I think Europe just wants it more. And these guys just rise up. I mean, look at the guys that are just making putts after putts after putts. And I think it's just that they don't feel they're intimidated by the Americans anymore.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I mean, it's maddening. Because, can you drop him, George? I'm on a different page here. Look, the thing, Cerrone, and just one more thing on the cup. Yeah. Listen to major champions in the last 3 years. So 3 years, there's 4 per year. There's 12 majors. Ready? Listen to the major champions. Yep. Rory, Masters. I'll list them. Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler. J.J. Spaun, Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele. Bryson DeChambeau, Xander Schauffele. John Rahm, Brooks Koepka, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's so the last 12 majors, twice out of 12 majors, a European won the major.
Yep.
So it's not like we can't win big tournaments. It's just in the Ryder Cup, for some reason, we're not able to step up and get it done. That's all. I mean, for crying out loud, we can't win a Ryder Cup in Europe. The last 4 major champions or 5 major champions at the Open Championship.
Mm-hmm.
4 out of the last 5 at the Open Championship are American. That's what I'm trying to say. Colin Morikawa, Brian Harmon, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler. And we can't ever win in Europe. I mean, something is off. That's all I'm saying. Because the Americans are dominating the majors, but when it comes to the Ryder Cup, something is off. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's at the junior level. Maybe the Europeans play more team events or something. I don't know. But it is not this is a really noteworthy loss. That's a noteworthy isn't even the word. A seminal loss, if that's a thing, if we go on to lose this Ryder Cup. At Bethpage, coming off of that embarrassment in Rome, to lose this is just really bad.
I think it's something to say about these guys. They're used to playing against the field. It's like it's me versus the course in the field. Something about that one-on-one, that head-to-head pairings and matchups, it's like it adds a different element of pressure to every shot, and they can't, for some reason, you pair it up when you're in a tournament. But you're not really going against that one individual, unless it's the final round, you're tied or whatever, and you see the pressure go up then. But I think in this Ryder Cup setting, it's a one-on-one contest, really. And for some reason, it kind of throws off their psyche, where they're not, it's not even that they play bad. Everybody's making their putts on the European team.
They just make putts. That's what it's all about in this tournament.
It's all about
who makes the putts.
All making them. So it's like they're confident and they're comfortable. Like they don't even see the Americans standing there. Like they're out just playing with their friends at work. Where the Americans seem like they're just tight and they're under pressure, playing this one-on-one matchup style, whatever, as opposed to being used to playing me versus the field and me versus the course itself, and not so much the individual.
Really tough week for Scotty Scheffler. He's going to take this one hard. I mean, he's been so dominant. To see him do this really hard. The Celtics, you think Tatum should come back and play? You think they should try to not push him back, but get him back in the mix and try to get it to as close to 100% as you can by, March-ish?
March. Yeah, I think he can't come back by March. I think, and we had this conversation before about the modern medicine. We're so used to seeing guys tear Achilles and they're done. Their career changes. They don't look the same. There's a video of what's his name? Play for the Hawks. Tore his Achilles, I think, against the Celtics. He's catching dunks off the backboard. He's throwing alley-oops to himself, and he tore his Achilles last season. I think the medicine has changed. I think the technology has changed. I think these guys can come back a lot quicker. They're young. They're in his Tatum's in his 20s. You're talking about a long time between when he got hurt and going into March. I think if you plan on playing him next season, you got to get him back early enough so he gets into a rhythm of playing playoff basketball. But I think things have changed. I think guys can come back quick from this and rehab, they work hard, whatever, and take care of their body. I think that's an Achilles injury now in sports isn't the death sentence like it used to be, and I think guys can't come back early. So I fully expect to see Tatum before the season's over.
Yeah, maybe I'm overstating it, but I feel like it'd be borderline madness if he doesn't come back this season.
Yeah, setback or something.
He should be able to, I've always thought about the All-Star break should be around the time he should be able to get back based on when it happened in the rehabilitation process he's gone through. He's been pretty good at it. Obviously, he's been diligent and it's gone well. I don't understand why he can't get back. And look, he might not. It might take him a little time to get into game shape.
Yeah.
But why can't you try to be the Celtics by playoff time and make a run and see what happens?
Yeah, think about it. You got in the NBA, you got to play in. All you got to do is be top 10. Just be 10th. And all of a sudden you get a top 5 player to throw in your roster to go into the playoffs. Nobody wants to play that early on. And who in the Eastern Conference are you so afraid of if Tatum comes back? I don't know if we can beat those guys. You beat everybody in the East with a full roster. But I think this team, I don't think they should tank. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think they're going to be. They're going to be the best? No. I think they're going to be decent enough. And look, I've seen the Celtics team led by Isaiah Thomas with Avery Bradley and Jay Crowder and Jonas Jerebko make it to the conference finals against LeBron James. This Celtics team has enough talent to be competitive in the Eastern Conference without Jason Tatum. They can't win a championship without him, but they can be around and get into playoffs with him. And if you get him back 100% by the time the season ends, you can make a run in the East.
Yeah, you don't know how long this window is going to last. And again, I know it'll be hard to win a championship, but how long is the window going to last?
You're going to waste the season.
Right. I mean, at least give it your best. See if you can get back and then see if you can make the playoffs are a whole season in it itself. I mean, he could have a whole it's like you come back for another season. So you have time to kind of get back up to speed and try to get some of the, get your conditioning right and all those things, especially if you're able to get back around the All-Star break. So we'll see. I definitely think they should try to get him back and, focus on the spring and making it. I mean, you've had the experience. You know what you need to do. And see what type of run you can put together. 617-779-0985. Mark Cerrone, 98.5, The Sports Hub.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Boston's home for
Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
This place has a place in my heart. It always will. We sometimes reflect on things, and you wish you would have done things a little differently. Well, when I come back here and I see this, I wish I would have done things a little differently. But as we got going, we stabilized the quarterback a little bit with Drew. We started making some picks, started getting better quality players, got into a couple playoff games. We won a little something. And finally, the New England Patriots were competitive.
All right, that was Bill Parcells in his Patriots Hall of Fame induction speech. We'll get to the tune in a second. First, let's get to Tim in Nashua. Hey, Tim.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And as far as choices, Bradley was the hottest golfer on the tour. And some of his choices, I have total questions about. I mean, when you put a team together like that, you also have to have, the main driving guys. He was on fire. I don't understand some of the choices. I don't know how you guys feel, but I just wasn't satisfied with who he had for team.
Okay, so those of you that are maybe not fully aware or following golf to a T, there was a lot of chatter that Keegan Bradley should have been a playing captain. So a lot of people thought Bradley should have played. He won in Hartford. He won, I forget if he won another event, but he played well this year. A lot of people, when he didn't pick himself, said, well, that's a good move because now these guys are really going to fight and die for him because he was humble enough to not pick himself. He gave another player an opportunity to be on the team. And by the way, 2 years ago, he was gutted when he did not make the team. So there was even more incentive for him to pick himself. Look, I didn't have a huge problem with some of the picks. I had more of a problem with some of the decisions he's made in terms of the matchups. I couldn't get over him putting Morikawa and English out against, who was it, Fleetwood and McIlroy for a second straight day after they got murdered in the first round or in the first session. Like, why would you put them back out there again? They got smoked again. And he hasn't. I thought he should have played J.J. Spawn a little earlier on. So, look, I think that this is starting to feel to me like Red Sox Yankees from back in the day. Like, no matter what the Americans
do. No matter what you do.
The ghost exists, and always, 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 it ends up the Yankees. There is something. The problem, I feel like, is deeper than during the 3 days that the Ryder Cup is taking place. The reason and I don't know what it is, the reason the Americans aren't winning, I feel like they're losing these Ryder Cups long before they actually arrive at the venue. So I don't know if that's constructing the team, right? The mentality for the tournament, or maybe they just, I don't know. It's like Scotty Scheffler putting too much pressure. He's been so good. How do you not win more, or how are you not more productive in this setting? It's just, I don't get it. So they're going to have to, especially you have to understand what this loss is going to do, how deep it's going to cut American golf when they lose this Ryder Cup at Bethpage. And right now, Europe is sweeping them in the afternoon session. It's all blue. Yep. So that is a damning, damning loss for the Americans in this setting at this venue. And they're going to really need to do some soul searching to figure out what went wrong here.
I think it's pressure. I think it comes down to pressure and being able to play in this setting and putting too much pressure on themselves because they're getting beat across the board. Like everybody's dealing with the same issue, and they just seem like they just can't handle it. And it's been a thing for years now where they just for some reason can't get it together in this type of format.
Yeah, I don't know how they structure these. They need to hire somebody. A consultant, like they need to do some kind of case study or focus group on what they can do to improve the performance. Because it's not like they've got scrubs; they've got world-class players. Yeah. But it's a team event, and you've got to be timely, and you got to make big and be clutch. And some of these guys just have not stepped up, and you got to identify who the best Ryder Cup players are.
There it is.
And not just who wins the major that year within the last 2 years.
You hit it.
Who are the best Ryder Cup performers? Get them on the team.
Mark, you just hit it. You just answered the equation right there. Pick guys that are good for this event, that are good in this setting.
Right.
And it might not, it could be somebody with no major wins who's not even top 5. Find guys that are good at playing in this event to win this particular format in this event, not just putting the best names of the hottest guys out there. Pick guys that you think could be good at winning in certain events like this. I think you just answered it.
That's why they have the captain's picks, right? And I know you have to do something during the year, but you got to find guys that thrive in this format, and they just haven't. I mean, Patrick Reed, and I can't stand Patrick Reed to a large extent, but he was a guy that was just good in this format. Obviously, for the Europeans, Ian Poulter, even when he wasn't that good on tour, in the Ryder Cup, he was a killer. They need one of those. They need a guy that's just in the Ryder Cup, just gets it done. And they can't find a way to do it. And it's just maddening. All right. When we get back, we'll do more. I want to touch on the Parcells stuff. I love your take on what went down and some of those old Patriots teams juxtaposed to the ones we see now and the ones that won the Super Bowls. So we'll do more of that and your thoughts on the Panthers game coming up too. Mark Dondero Cerrone Battle 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.
No matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Mark and Cerrone. Just one more comment on the Ryder Cup, Cerrone. Right now, first of all, so Bryson DeChambeau and Scotty Scheffler, the two best players on the American team, they're currently down 3 to Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose. All Fleetwood and Rose did all this year was basically choke. Now, I understand that Fleetwood won the Tour Championship, but he spent the whole year before that choking. And he's now up 3. on the two best players America has. I'm just
from the Tell Your Time Studios.
Thank you. I just like tomorrow, okay? In the singles, if this holds, it is going to be 12.5 to 3.5 Europe.
Jesus.
And if that happens, I don't even know what you do to like if the first two matches end in a European win and a push, we just take everyone else off that's like unprecedented. You just take everyone else off the course? I've never seen anything like this.
Most lopsided beating ever?
Maybe not, but I can't remember one like this. I mean, if it holds with what we're at right now, where it's 8.5, I mean, where it ends up 12.5 to 3. I mean, right now, these matches, they're all coming down to the end here, and there's all blue. Now, that Scheffler one is over. They're going to lose. But the other three, they're only one up. But, I mean, that's borderline unprecedented. So I can't believe it. Okay, I want to get the comment in on the Patriots because I liked what you brought up. What we saw out of Bill Parcells and all that, do you think, I don't know if you were asking, is the 96 team more talented than 04 or 06?
Yeah.
Like, what was the most talented team in your eyes from what you remember as a Patriots fan?
Man, I was sitting there thinking, I saw the Parcells stuff because I always feel, and I've always said this, I hold him responsible for changing the culture of the Patriots. He put them on the map globally. Like they became a sexy team. You bought their jerseys, their starter jackets, not just in New England. I'm talking nationwide. They became a hot team. You used in video games. The Patriots, he changed the culture of the Patriots. And I started thinking, I was like, man, they had this guy, they had that guy. And I'm looking, I know they didn't win it all, and that's key. But talent for talent, man for man, is there a team better than the 96 Patriots? And I'm looking, I'm like, their left tackle had made the Pro Bowl 7 times in Armstrong. You had Ben Coates, who I think is one of the great tight ends of all time. Dominant pass-catching tight end. Terry Glenn was a Pro Bowler. Curtis Martin's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's just Ty Law's in the Hall of Fame. They have pieces. I mean, there's so many guys on that team. Their kick returner was a Pro Bowler in Meggett. The kicker, Adam Vinatieri's a Hall of Fame player. They had Willie McGinnis. They had all these great players on that team. I'm sitting there like, okay, Pro Bowl quarterback, Hall of Fame running back, Pro Bowl tight end, Pro Bowl left tackle, Pro Bowl receiver, Pro Bowl defensive ends, Pro Bowl corner, Pro Bowl safeties, Pro Bowl kick returner, and a Hall of Fame kicker. I don't think there's a Patriot team that can match that talent for talent. They didn't win, but that Patriot team on paper probably is the most talented Patriot team I think they've ever had. And I would love to see what would have happened if they would have kept everybody together, coaching staff, whatever, and went forward with that.
Oh, that would have been awesome. I love that team.
They were great, man.
Drew Bledsoe was very good. I think that was the problem. And obviously that was a really good Packers team that they lost to, and the Broncos would have been a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have beat Denver had Denver not lost to Jacksonville. Denver obviously was still on the come up. Even though Elway was older, they were still.
He was old. Yeah,
they would have been a problem in the AFC throughout that run had Parcells stayed. But I mean, I don't know. Bledsoe probably was. I want to call him the weak link because he was a good quarterback, but you know, they would have really had to continue to beat the door down to get over the hump with him. I'll tell you what, and I know this isn't really related, but the thing that I always think about when it comes to Bill Parcells, and Gary Myers wrote about this in his book, had they drafted, I mean, Peyton Manning was right there for them in 97. All they had to, and this is in the book, all Parcells had to do was give Archie Manning sort of an off-the-record commitment that they were going to take Manning if he had declared for the NFL draft after that season at Tennessee, you know, whenever that was. It was the spring of 97 when the Jets had the number 1 pick. Can you imagine what that would – I mean, I don't know what the career would have been like for Parcells with Manning. That would have been unbelievable to watch that unfold in New York City with that quarterback, with that coach. He had just gotten to New York. I mean, and then if it ever ended up Brady Belichick versus Manning and in the same division,
that would have been great. It would have been great for years.
That, to me, Cerrone is one of the greatest what-ifs in all of sports.
Yeah.
And it's under-discussed. But had Parcells taken Manning in 97, and I think – because they had just taken Keyshawn Johnson the year before. They had a great receiver, a really good team. Ended up in the AFC Championship game in 98. That team was ready.
Right, and then Curtis Martin going over there with them would have been just perfect to go with that.
Manning, Martin, Keyshawn.
Keyshawn, yeah, that's a team things would have gone totally. And we understand the Belichick situation after that, but I mean, that would have been that is one of the great what ifs. And I don't think the reason it's not been discussed, I don't think a lot of people know that. I don't think a lot of people knew that situation, that Manning had the opportunity to go to the Jets in that situation. But yeah, they were better than what the Colts were at that time. It took the Colts a little while to get going. Marshall Faulk goes to the Rams and all that other stuff. But yeah, Manning in New York at that time, they might have won a Super Bowl or 3. I think and their defense was always good. So I think they were on the brink of being great there if they'd have made that move.
Would have been fascinating. So we'll see. A huge game for the Patriots. I don't want to say it's a must win, but again, you're staring 1-4 in the face, and I feel like 1-4 is a really bad play. Like, you're not really doing much if you get to 1-4. I know they could go on a little run, but
yeah,
you got to have it tomorrow.
You got to have it. I think they'll get it. I think Gonzalez makes a difference, and I think they get some turnovers and get that W tomorrow. But to me, they need a blowout win for their own mindset. They need to blow this Carolina team out, and they're capable of it. But L tomorrow is a bad look for everybody in the organization.
A clean win. No turnovers.
Clean win. There you go.
Limited penalties. All right. Always a pleasure, Cerrone. Good to be with you.
Thank you, man.
George,
same here.
Always. Thanks for all your help. All right. Coming up next, RJ, Bob Beers, Bruins, Flyers, preseason action, 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll talk to you.
They want you to cook the dinner. At least they ought to let you shop for some of the groceries. Okay?
WBC-FM 91 bus from the Town Fair Tire Studio, the home of the Bruins, Patriots, Revs, and Celtics.
Come on, Maxey, step back. 3 is good.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5 The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. This is Boston Bruins hockey.
Across to Esposito, a shot. No! It's all tied up. Bang! Cam Neely, wow.
Nathan Horton wins Game 7 in overtime. Geeky scores.
And there is point number 100 for Pasta and goal number 30 for Morgan Geeky.
Boston Bruins hockey is brought to you by your local New England Honda dealers, Shaw's and Star Market, Safety Insurance, Town Fair Tire, Granite City Electric's GCE Night Train, your New England Board dealers, Blue Sky Restoration Contractors, and by Catches Law.
Great stop of the far post.
And by Dairy Queen, Peerless Boilers, Timber Tech Decking and Railing, Charles D. Sheehy, Wendy's, Live Nation, your Boston area Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, and by Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
Back to Orr. Put in. His 100th point. Backhand score on a penalty shot for Raymond Bourque.
David Pasternak calls game, and the Bruins win it 2-1.
Bergeron! And the Bruins win the series!
Now, here's Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers.
From the newly renamed Xfinity Mobile Arena in Philadelphia.